NBC Sports, home of the Olympic Games, the NHL, the PGA Tour, the NASCAR playoffs, and Primetime's #1 show, Sunday Night Football, only on NBC.
It's the first weekend of summer, and what better way to spend it than some lake time? That, however, has a different meaning if you're an IndyCar driver, as time at the lake means Elkhart Lake, Road America, here in Wisconsin. An historic 4-mile track set on 630 acres of parkland makes for an amazing family weekend of racing, camping, and summertime fun, and it's been happening here for decades. And speaking of family, Colton Herta's dad, Brian, raced here many times but never achieved what his 19-year-old son did yesterday. Colton became the youngest to ever win a pole position in IndyCar, and he could win his second race in this, his rookie year. Points leader and defending race winner Joseph Newgarden loves this place, and fresh from his win in Texas 2 weeks ago, he's got the momentum and starts from the second row. Second is where Alexander Rossi is on the grid and in the championship. And frankly, he's tired of it. Watch the Andretti driver fire on all cylinders today. And reigning series champion Scott Dixon suffered engine issues yesterday in qualifying and will be working his way up from 12th. That's just one of the many things to watch in today's 55-lap race. We're about an hour and a half north of Milwaukee, and it is a beautiful day temperature-wise, but it's breezy, and that breeze is bringing some potential bad weather with it. 40% chance at noon in an hour's time, and in a couple of hours' time, a 60% chance of rain. It could make the second half of this 10th round of the championship extremely challenging and extremely interesting. And as you have a look at the high shot there, that's where we are, right at the end of pit road at pit out. It is always a hot spot here at Road America. As we say hi, folks, Lee Diffie, along with Paul Tracy, Townsend Bell, ready to go for round 10 of this 17-round championship. It was a weekend off last weekend, fellas, which was a much-needed weekend off. It's a nice natural line in the sand to say, okay, everybody refresh and regroup. Let's go for the second half of this championship. But, Paul, you're a two-time winner here at Road America. This is known as the 4-mile monster. What are you going to do to tackle this place and be successful?
Well, this track is the mecca for motorsports and road racing in North America. And to be fast and successful here, you really got to hang it out and push it to the limit.
Townsend, your take on this place? I mean, it's the longest lap that the drivers see all year.
It certainly is. It's also an old-school racing surface. This track is totally worn out in terms of you're riding on rock here. This is the cheese state, and it's like a cheese grater. As I rub my hand, it's sharp, and that aggregate will wear the tires out very quickly. And as that happens, the drivers start to slide around, and they've done plenty of that already this weekend.
The drivers certainly have. They've been worn out this weekend. Check this out, just from practice and qualifying sessions. Paul, there has been some wild experiences.
Yeah, this track really rewards you for pushing to the absolute limit, because if you just back off a little bit, there's huge time loss. And look at Rossi catching air at 130 miles an hour in turn 13. Graham Rahal loses it and was so lucky to not hit the wall and damage his car for qualifying.
Well, it's been a very stable and steady weekend so far for championship leader Joseph Newgarden. Do you know he's the defending race winner as well? So that bodes well. He starts from the second row, and he has been the championship leader almost every step of the way this year, and it all got going at the appropriate place, the season opener. Round 1 of the 2019 NTT INDYCAR Series, and what a day this could be for Joseph Newgarden of Team Penske. Newgarden out in front with a huge lead. He's never won here on the streets of St. Pete and would dearly love to do it today.
Checkered flag is out. Joseph Newgarden goes to victory lane.
Great job, boys. That's awesome. You're going to win first of the year.
It is Joseph Newgarden and Alexander Rossi head-to-head for the win. The race leader, Joseph Newgarden, would go out to a 25-point championship lead. Newgarden wins in Detroit.
Nice drive, man. Really good job today, guys.
You better bring that challenge to victory circle, Tim.
The Fitzgerald Chevrolet of Joseph Newgarden, championship leader, clearly in front and enjoying it after a masterful strategy call. Gets the points leader right up top. Newgarden is relentless on that inside run. Under the lights, championship leader, Joseph Newgarden wins in Texas. Here's the point scenario with 8 races to go. Newgarden leaves by 25 over Alexander Rossi. Indy 500 winner Pagenaud 48 back. Scott Dixon the 5-time and reigning series champion. He's getting kind of into that murky zone of 89 points back. He doesn't want to be that far back. And then take your eyes down a little bit further. The lead rookie is Santino Ferrucci, doing a tremendous job, and he's just 3 points ahead of his more experienced teammate, Sebastian Bourdais. But let's talk about the man at the top, Joseph Newgarden, with Marty Snyder. Marty?
And I tell you, Lee, watching those highlights, it's been fun to watch Joseph Newgarden this year. So what's been the bigger key to leading the championship at this point? The wins that we just saw, or the consistency this year that people kind of don't talk about?
It's definitely the consistency. You know, last year we had those wins, especially early on. I think we won the first 2 out of 4 races. But that can only carry you so far. You've got to have consistent finishes outside of those wins. And I think the month of May this year was a lot better to us. We still had a little bobble at the GP of Indy. I had the bobble at Detroit. So we've not been perfect, but I think we've been better up to this point in the going into the second half. So that consistency is key. We got to win a couple of races, I think, on the back end. But if we can continue to be consistent, I think we're going to look all right going into Laguna.
This place has an incredible atmosphere. It's such an event. You won this race last year. You called it, what, America's National Park of Speed? What makes Road America so special?
Well, it's one of my favorite events of the year. It's been great to have Rev Group on our car this weekend. They're doing a really cool activation for all the active first responders can come out to the event today for free. So it's a small, tribute to everyone that helps serve us in our communities, and certainly here at the racetrack we have a lot of first responders that take care of us, and all the fans. So it's been great to represent Rev Group. Done an amazing job up in this area, but this event, the crowd, I'm telling you, in the race car, it almost feels like the Indy 500 with how lined the place is. You go down the backstretch to Canada Corner, people are filled into the trees all the way down, and they're long straightaways, and people are filled all the way down. So it gives you energy as a race car driver, and then just to drive this place with a Chevy engine in my Indy car, it is the best, man.
Well, he mentioned he won here last year. He's trying to become the first back-to-back winner at Road America in 24 years. We'll see if he can do it today, Kevin Lee.
Marty, Colton Herta is already the youngest winner in IndyCar history when he's 18 years old. Now he's a grizzled 19-year-old veteran and is the youngest pole winner ever. So you've already got a race win. How does the car here compare to when you won at Circuit of the Americas or some of the other fast cars you've had this year?
I think it's quite a bit different here because of the longevity of the race and the track distance, but completely different tire. Seems like we're really fast on old tires. And it seems like we're going to have a good car again, so I think we can do some damage today.
You are starting next to one of your pseudo teammates. You share information with Andretti Autosports, and Alexander Rossi is there. What's the conversation been like for the start of the race in corner number 1?
It's no team orders. I race everyone with respect, so it's no different for him. Obviously, you do want to take a bit more care because he is a part of the team, but we got to win. We got to make some points back, and I want to win that Rookie of the Year, and I want to win the championship. So if we just win every race from here on out, it'd be cool.
How about this, Lee Diffie? The pole sitter has won this race at Road America 3 of the last 4 years. Colton Herta is hoping to make it 4 out of 5.
Well, let's hope he doesn't live true to his words there, Kevin, about saying we could do some damage here today, because that's exactly what happened 2 weeks ago in Texas. We will always talk about Colton Herta because at the moment he's this teenage sensational rookie. And then you've got the 5-time champion Scott Dixon. These two clashed at Texas Motor Speedway late in the race, coming to an exciting finish.
That 19-year-old rookie, Colton, put it up the inside of the 5-time champion. It all went wrong for both of them. And for Colton Herta, he needs a result today. He doesn't need damage. He needs a result. He's 16th in points. And, Paul, he can get it done.
He certainly can, but I was not surprised that he made that move on Scott Dixon because he's a young tiger and he's going for it. I was really surprised that Scott Dixon put himself in that position by squeezing Colton, because we don't typically see Scott Dixon really put himself in a bad position, and it really cost him in the championship.
By the way, Colton Herta was really impressed the way that Scott Dixon came to him in kind of a mentoring role and spoke and talked through that situation and said, let's go on, let's move on from that. Now, when we come to Road America, we always talk about history and tradition, and there's a very good reason why, because so much has transpired here. And in this historic theme, look at this. This is Bobby Rahal back in the Miller Genuine Draft car in 1994. Well, celebrating 25 years of Honda's involvement in American open wheel racing, son Graham is running a similar throwback livery today on the Gale Honda. That's a great sense of pride for both Rahal family members. And there's Graham. He even had a pedal version of that car. Here's Dylan Welsh with Graham.
Thanks, Lee, and a great-looking car, great-looking fire suit, and a good qualifying effort for you guys, too. After the morning yesterday didn't start off so promising, you said you made several changes, small changes to the race car, and then you're going to have to go back and compare notes with your teammate. I'm not going to ask you if you found or what you found, but did you find anything that you feel like can help improve the car even more today?
Well, you know, it's hard to say necessarily, because I think a qualifying car, what's good on pace, is going to be pretty different than a race car. But, you know, we're going to work hard as a team throughout this day. It's going to be tough. The red tire is going to be, I'm sure you've heard from others too, it's going to be a major struggle here the first stint, but try to get out there, get that Gale car running up front. You know, we have a good starting spot. I got Takuma right next to us, so if we can get to a clean start, take care of each other, we'll see. But the end of this first stint's going to be sloppy, so we just got to try to hang on.
He's got a good starting spot. 5th is where Graham Rahal will roll off today at Road America.
And just a couple of rows ahead of Graham Rahal is the man in the blue and yellow there, Alexander Rossi. He's a championship contender, but he is frustrated. He's desperate for another win. Could he do it today? Next Sunday, NASCAR returns to the networks of NBC. The sport's top drivers start the second half and the race to the championship at Chicagoland. That's NASCAR back on NBCSN next Sunday at 3 Eastern. Really looking forward to that. Really looking forward to today's races. We welcome you back to Road America. You know, over the past 3 seasons, Alexander Rossi has been one of the standout drivers in this field of racing. He won the 2016 Indianapolis 500 at his first attempt. But, you know, these guys are born and bred winners. And there comes a time when you get tired of finishing second. For Alexander, he's finished second in 3 of the last 4 races. So that time is now. Who wants it more? Is Rossi going to spoil the Pagenaud party in the month of May?
Problem for Rossi. They cannot get the fuel to plug in. Rossi slamming his fist.
Simon Pagenaud takes the lead of the Indy 500.
Flag, checkered flag. Sorry, I couldn't do anything.
Today will suck for a while.
It is Joseph Newgarden and Alexander Rossi head-to-head.
With a win in sight, Rossi absolutely wants to right himself after the Indy 500. He's pressing, he's coming.
There was not much I could do, but ultimately, for one reason or another, we're not on the top step of the podium.
Other than that one time with Colt, has anyone made the high line really work, Dwayne?
I've seen some work, but it's mainly faster cars get by lap cars.
Here goes Rossi.
This is looking good. Can he send it on the outside? He hasn't been able to do it all night, but he'll hold it. He can't do it.
Checkered flag, P2. Nice run.
Yeah, Alex, good point tonight.
This is getting annoying. Big picture, you did what you had to do.
Now we're into the second half of the season. There's a lot of really strong tracks for us coming up. It's just unfortunate that the guy we're chasing the championship is the one that's able to come out on top.
Nice crowd here on pit road as we are getting closer and closer to the start of this 55-lap race. Alexander Rossi said after losing the Indy 500 this year, that one's going to hurt for some time. Yesterday, he missed out on the pole by the narrowest of margin to teenager Colton Herta. His facial expression told it all. Where's Rossi at right now?
I'll tell you where Rossi's at. He is one of the most intense race drivers that I've ever come across. And I truly believe, Townsend, that he thinks second place is the first loser. He can't stand it.
I don't agree at all. I think the reason he's had second places is that Rossi wants to win a championship. It slipped through his fingers at the last race of last season. That's the milestone that he wants to hit, is win a championship. You do that by scoring points. It's all about where does he sit relative to Newgarden today.
25 points back he is. Let's learn more about Alexander Rossi when he sat down with Al Rutledge Wood.
Hit it. You know what I appreciate is that I don't have to slouch for you.
Well, no, me. I don't have to slouch for you.
Dude,
usually reporters are short.
Apparently everyone you race with, they
also short.
Literally look up to you.
Yeah.
They do, right?
That's cool.
It's kind of nice.
Yeah.
All right, so here's what we got. I'm going to fire questions at you. You answer them as quickly as you can.
Okay.
Just follow your heart.
I'm excited.
Taco Tuesday or Fish Stick Friday?
Taco Tuesday.
Have you ever had a fish stick?
Yes.
They're pretty good. It was big when I was a kid in the 80s.
You're taking time.
I know. Sorry, you're right. First car you ever drove?
I can't say that.
Yeah, you can. Historically
speaking, I literally can't.
It's embarrassing?
No.
Oh.
It's like literally the opposite of that.
Oh. We'll edit around that. Speed or comfort?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Good answer. No one's accurately answered that. But what job would you be terrible at?
Acting.
We gotta just go over some Kardashian stuff now.
Oh, sweet. I'm out.
Boom.
Racing in IndyCar has a lot of different elements. The physicality of it, the innate ability to drive race cars. But one element that a lot of people kind of overlook is the mental aspect of it. You're having to make decisions in split seconds at high speeds with a pretty high penalty if you get it wrong. But also the environment, it's very ruthless. You're only as good as your last race. Things in the past really don't exist. What's going to come up in the future doesn't really exist. So you got to take each opportunity that you have to be in the race car as a fresh one and try and go out and execute the best as you can, regardless of what's kind of happening around you. You have events where the top 15 drivers are within 8-9 of a second. And more than half the guys, most of the time, are capable of winning races.
The checkered flag is out, Rossi wins.
And that's the one thing that drives me every single day, the love of competition.
Rossi came agonizingly close to winning his second Indianapolis 500 this past month of May. The man who beat him to the line, Team Penske's Simon Pagenaud, winning his very first Indy 500, as he delightfully expanded upon during this week's Dale Jr. Download. Pagenaud had a great turn 3 last time. Simon Pagenaud takes the lead of the Indy 500.
By the white flag, he was so far, I thought I had it. But then on the back stretch, on the last lap, then he got really close. He had a good turn 2, and I had to pull the Dale Jr. card there.
You were all over the place. That does remind me of the way he would run Daytona in the closing laps. I mean, those guys are all over the place. But you and Rossi, it was amazing.
Yeah, my last card in my game was to break the draft. Find a way to break the draft, and that was just enough to be inside of turn 3, and I wasn't going to lift.
It's a beautiful sight, isn't it? Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin's Road America. This is such an iconic venue. Speaking of iconic venues, when you win at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway like Simon Pagenaud did this year, you get invited by the president to the White House. Fiancée Haley was there, all of the number 22 team, Roger Penske, of course, team president Tim Cindric, John Menard, the sponsor, exec Chevrolet's Jim Campbell. And on a separate note, and since then, Roger has been notified he is a recipient of the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Congratulations, RP. Let's keep the Penske theme going, and with Simon Pagenaud, here's Marty Snyder.
You know what's fun, Lee, is to watch Simon Pagenaud watching that footage of being at the White House. What an honor, isn't it, when the president invites you to the White House as the first responders go by?
Well, it was such an honor, to be honest. As a Frenchman, I never expected to go to the White House ever, and obviously it was amazing to see. Whatever your political views are, I mean, at the end of the day, when you're invited to go to the White House and the president of the USA calls you on the cell phone to congratulate you, you can't say no. I mean, it's such an honor. Like I said, for a Frenchman to represent my country there, fly the French flag so high was incredible, and I was so happy for the crew, for the whole team Penske. Obviously these guys did such a fantastic job. It was an amazing way to celebrate together.
Focusing on racing, it's been sort of up and down since the win at the Indy 500. Is it tough for a team and a driver to kind of refocus after an emotional win like that?
Yes, absolutely. And I wanted to think not, but it is. Detroit was a bit of a blur. We did everything we could to salvage. I wasn't very well prepared. A little tired, but for good reasons. Then, obviously Texas was pretty good, but then here I definitely struggled with a bit of pace. Obviously there's always something to find. I can only blame myself, but it is what it is. It's racing. You go up and down, and from the downs you come back stronger, and then you keep on winning. So today I think it's going to be an interesting day. I think qualifying is not as important today because there's a lot of tire degradation. I think it could be an interesting race.
Going to be fun to watch the Indy 500 champ come from 16th today, Robin.
All right, willpower. It's been 12 races since you won a race. Now, that's not a drought for most people, but for a guy like you that's the winningest driver of the last decade, it's got to seem like 12 years.
It does. It seems like a long time. Kind of gave up a couple of potential wins at the beginning of the season, and in this series it's so hard to win. If you give one up, it's going to be hard to get that next one. But obviously very determined and got a great car, great team behind me. Just got to put it all together.
You're 6th in the points. I don't know if you can win the championship, but you can probably win half the races that are left.
We have a chance every weekend. It's just a matter of getting it together. And like I say, there's so many good drivers and teams in this series now that unless you do a perfect job, you're not going to win.
Okay, Lee, I doubt this guy's going to get shut out the rest of 2019.
Look forward to seeing that, Robin, from one champion to another. Willpower to Scott Dixon. You know, no current driver has more race victories or championship victories than the talented Kiwi. But defending his 5th title this year is proving to be a tough task.
Obviously, you want to be leading, but I don't know why the 100-point mark kind of always seems to be that breach for us. But, you know, we've come from just about that deficit, I think, in maybe 13 to win the championship.
2 seasoned veterans going at it for the win in the Indy Grand Prix. Oh, and Dixon,
he
a little
runs
wide there.
He ran wide, they touch. Pageant on the outside,
he
got him, unbelievable.
And I don't think Dixon has a chance now.
What has happened here? Dixon gets through. Maybe a little front wing damage there.
That almost certainly takes Dixon out of the mix.
Let's go racing in Detroit, and Rossi leads Dixon. Dixon is in the wall from a top 3 position. You just don't see that from the 5-time and reigning series champion. Inside now, Colton Hill.
No way! Oh man, Colton Herta, Dixon in the wall.
This is bad for the championship for Dixon.
Sorry if it was my fault. You know, I was pushing, trying to get the most out of it, and you know, ended both of our days.
Well, and Lee, it hasn't gotten any easier this weekend for Scott Dixon. It's been issue after a lockup in practice, which you see here, and then as he came off of turn number 12, the issue with the motor that sidelined him early than he would have liked in qualifying yesterday. So it's been an uphill climb for you this weekend, but how tough do you anticipate your job being today starting 12th?
Yeah, ideally not a good spot, but you know, the PNC Bank crew are always strong, and you know, hopefully we can shift something up strategy-wise. We're, you know, one of the first cars starting on the primary tire, so you know, maybe that will play something good later in the race. But yeah, it's going to be difficult. You know, it's one of the few tracks that I think you can pass if you've got a good car. It seemed like we had found a few things come qualifying that you know, sped up the number 9, but it's going to be a tough day for sure. So we'll try and make the most of it.
We've seen so many guys on the ragged edge, just trying to get the most out of the cars around this racetrack. How do you balance the aggressiveness you need to move forward in the field with just keeping the car on the racetrack?
Well, it's always that compromise, right? Here, you know, I think is kind of cool to race at these old school, you know, American circuits, you know, like Watkins Glen, where if you do push it too far, you kind of get in the grass, it's just going to cost you time. Whereas, you know, maybe Coda or someone's like that, it doesn't, you know, seem to penalize you as much. But yeah, in the race a little bit different. You know, I think you can lose a lot of spots. You know, I think we saw even in our practice session on Friday, you know, 0.03 of a second was like 4 spots. It's really close right now in the NTT INDYCAR Series. So you just got to keep it simple, try and, you know, keep it on the track, and you know, hopefully we can have a good result.
It'll be fun to watch coming from 12th today, Scott Dixon. Lee?
Dylan, we will keep an eye on him, and it's not only Scott Dixon. He had that engine issue. Another top tenor in Santino Ferrucci also had some mechanical woes. And you look at Simon Pagenaud, it's been a ragged weekend for some of the contenders.
It really has, and I think for Pagenaud, he talked about the distractions as a first-time Indy 500 winner, and I really think he's got to kind of refocus and get back into that groove that he had in May, where he was so intense. He's a methodical, procedural type, and all those distractions, I think, have really impacted him this year.
Is that what Road America does to you, though, because it is such a challenge?
Well, it is such a challenge, and there's really no room for error here. Scott Dixon just said it best himself. A track like Coda has big runoff areas. If you make a mistake, you can kind of run wide. Not really any penalty. Here, you go off the track, it's a big penalty, and you can easily damage your car.
And in a strange way, that's why the drivers respect this place so much, because if you do make a mistake, you will be penalized. All right, we are counting down and getting ever so close to the start of round 10. It is the Rev Group Grand Prix at Road America. Back in a moment.
Welcome back to Road America, Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. So far, sunny, beautiful conditions. Look at that packed grid here at one of the best events on the IndyCar circuit. It is the Rev Group Grand Prix, and a terrific promotion by the Rev Group. Any active first responder got on the track today for free, and they also honored them with a parade lap around the track before the race. Such a deserving honor for first responders, and we thank you for your service. Time for pre-race ceremonies.
Race fans, at this time we ask that you please rise and remove your hats as the Wisconsin First Responder Honor Guard presents our nation's colors.
Honor Guard, Paris!
Please remain standing as Chaplain Chuck Lessick of IndyCar Ministry offers this afternoon's invocation.
Let's pray. Lord God, we pause just a moment just to thank you for this day and invite you into our race today. We're thankful for this time with family and friends at Road America. Today especially, we're thankful for all the first responders and their hearts to serve others. We ask that this race be a blessing to this entire community, and we look to you for an exciting yet safe race today. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Race fans, as part of the tribute to the first responders, Deputy Chief Christopher Snyder of the Milwaukee Fire Department sings our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
The T-38s with an incredible flyover here at Road America. You know, in 2019 here in the IndyCar Series, been a lot of talk about rookies. In fact, we have a rookie on the pole today with Colton Herta. But maybe the most impressive rookie, this young man, Santino Ferrucci from Connecticut. We want to get to know a little bit more about him, including the controversy he had in his racing season last year. So here's the debut of 3 Wide with PT and T-Bell.
All right, Santino, I know you've never raced at Elkhart Lake, but have you ever been on Elkhart Lake?
I can't say I have. It's quite beautiful and relaxing out here.
You told me on the way out here on the boat that you can't swim. You're kidding.
Do I look like I'm kidding?
Well, where we're at right now, it's only about knee deep, so you should be, well,
neck deep?
For you, maybe neck deep.
Santino, I'd never met you prior to this year, but candidly, if I had looked at the stories and the background, I would have said, this guy's going to wreck out of 4 or 5 races. He's going to be on probation at some point. How have you been so consistent coming in this season and stayed out of trouble?
Everything in my life has sort of started to calm down, and I've started to be able to, catch my breath. It just allows me, in my opinion, to be clearer mentally on the track.
So, having raced in Europe a lot when you were a kid, have you found that coming to the States, it's a lot more laid back?
I got into racing for the feeling that I'm getting driving the Indy cars, that just pure enjoyment. There's not a lot of pressure. I have a teammate who's helping me. That enjoyment and being able to work as a team and function as a team as opposed to being in Europe, you're really on your own. You're just one person out on an island.
Last year when you were racing in Europe in F2, you had a run-in with your teammate and caught the wrath of the FIA and a lot of the fans. And how do you feel that you've gotten over that and moved past it?
In Europe, your teammate's your biggest competitor, always. And we were friends. We'd known each other for a really long time. And, I think we got the best of each other, pushing each other. And I look back at that and I feel I'm in a much different place mentally than where I was over there. I don't feel this massive awakening pressure on me to do something spectacular.
Check out Ferrucci right here. Look at this guy work his way through here. Slows down, takes his time. Got to go in the grass. You got to go in the grass. That move right there gave him a lot more spots back, and he's in great position.
He's your guy. You love him.
Look at the reaction that Dale Jr. had with you at the Indy 500. That was the first time you had raced at Indianapolis. Not only that, you had never been on an oval before, and you did spectacular.
It's the most prestigious race, in my opinion, in the world. And it's the one race as a kid growing up I knew I wanted to run eventually in my career. And getting to run it at my age, and to finish 7th and become Rookie of the Year is mind-blowing to me.
Watching your interview after the Indy 500, and you referred to your teammate, Sebastian Bourdais, 40 years old, as Dad.
I started calling him Dad last year at the Christmas banquet for the team, and it kind of stuck. And it's funny, is he calls me son, and he's been teaching me so much this year. I mean, I think it goes a long way.
Since Indy, do you feel you've reached another level of performance?
I'm comfortable, and I'm just finally putting the pieces together, and I'm starting to really understand the car. I feel like I've found something in myself that I haven't had in a long time.
This young man, so much fun to hang out with. I had a chance to visit with him before he climbed in the car. I said, what was the most fun you've had in the car this year? He said the Indy GP, actually, not the Indy 500 where he finished so well. He said because it rained at the end of that race, I had a blast inside the race car. So you would think a rookie might have issues at some point. You heard Townsend mention the consistency. Not this young man. He has been incredible this year and surprised everybody by this. He has completed more laps than anyone in the entire series. That's amazing for Santino Ferrucci. And he also told me Texas, the most fun I've had in the race car this year, the one that surprised me the most with a great finish he had there just 2 weeks ago. These rookies have been so impressive, not only Ferrucci, but this young man, Colton Herta, on the pole today. Can he pull it off with win number 2? We'll find out in moments. The command to get the engines cranked at Road America is coming up.
The 2019 NTT INDYCAR season has hit its midway mark, and today begins the tilt toward the championship at Wisconsin's Road America. Known as America's National Park of Speed, this circuit is easy on the eyes, but certainly not easy on the 23 drivers who will race side by side over its 4 miles and 14 turns, and could make for a long day for a racer in title contention. 2 weeks ago, Joseph Newgarden won in Texas, his 3rd win of the year, and looks to be in the familiar form of his championship 2 years ago. 2nd place in 3 of the last 4 races, Alexander Rossi looks to shed his runner-up role and tighten up the points. With his sweep during the month of May, Indy 500 champion Simon Pagenaud is the only driver this year to pry the overall lead away from Newgarden. A win here today could put the 2016 season champion within reach of his teammate. Round 10 of the NTT INDYCAR Series starts now. You know, when you get excited about going somewhere special just because of the history, the tradition, this is one of those kind of places. Road America at Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin for the Rev Group Grand Prix presented by AMR at Road America. We are in between Milwaukee and Green Bay, and so far I'm really pleased to say that the weather is working our way. The forecast earlier in the week was not very good, but it's breezy, comfortable temperature, and there's a 60% chance at 1 o'clock local this afternoon. We'll see how that pans out. It could make for a very interesting final stage to this race. There's the weather radar currently, and the weather seems far enough away not to be a threat at the moment. We'll see how this works out. Certainly got very lucky at the Indianapolis 500 this year where it was a dire weather forecast and every single lap was run. And you know what? We talk about special and significant, and how about this? Last 8 races in IndyCar Series racing here at Road America, 8 different winners. We'll see if that trend continues here today. Will we get a new one again? Time to get trackside for the command. Here we go.
Road America race fans, are you ready? It's time for those most famous words in all of sports. Here to give the command, please welcome today's Grand Marshal, New York Fire Department Lieutenant Anthony Mancuso.
Drivers, start your engines.
Colton Herta is already the youngest race winner in IndyCar. Now he's the youngest pole sitter. It's the first time he's ever started inside the front 2 rows. Now, since that win, though, he's not finished 5 races. So does he just want a result today? No, he told me their approach has not changed. I'm still going after wins. To Marty Snyder.
Kevin, one of the coolest things about the beginning of the second half of the IndyCar season is that the championship picture comes into much clearer focus. And it's going to be a battle between Alexander Rossi and Joseph Newgarden, who start nose to tail today. These two know the championship is starting to come into clearer picture, and they know it's not only a battle for a win at one of the most iconic racetracks in the world today, it's a battle for this championship, Robin Miller.
And Marty, so far it's been a weekend to forget for Scott Dixon. They struggled with pace and speed all weekend long. They struggled to keep the car on the racetrack in practice earlier this weekend. Then yesterday in qualifying, a mechanical issue sidelined them early in the going in group number 1. It's been an uphill battle. If anybody can overcome it, it's Scott Dixon, the 5-time series champ. He won here in 2017 and finished 3rd last year, Robin.
Well, Simon Pagenaud had the month of May for the ages. He won the pole in the Indianapolis 500. He won the Indy 500. He opened the month with a victory in the Indy Grand Prix. He went from nowhere to leading the point standings. June hasn't been quite as kind. A 17th, a couple 6th places. He starts 16th today. And his competition, Joseph Newgarden and Alexander Rossi, they're at the front of the field. So what's he going to do? He's going to make some pit strategy changes? Or maybe Lee Diffey's going to pray for some rain like he got at Indy back in May when he passed Scott Dixon for the victory.
He said that was one of the most exhilarating races and race victories he has ever had. We will see, and we'll keep a watchful eye on that weather. We also keep a watchful eye on the Honda 2-seater being driven by Arie Luyendyk Jr. Saw Arie at the famous Elkhart Lake ice cream shop last night. And congratulations to Arie and his wife Lauren on the recent birth of their little girl as we join Matt Micah from YouTube's Warped Perception. Well, part of your show, as you know, Mike, is often debunking myths. You can debunk this myth on whether it's frightening or not to be in the Honda 2-seater. We'll take that as a yes. Enjoy the ride, Matt, with Arie Jr.
Clearly in a warp state.
He was in a warp state as he heads through the carousel. Not quite at the same speed that the 23 Indy cars will do today. Townsend, Paul, speaking of the carousel, talk us through the rest of this 4-mile classic track.
This thing is a beauty. 4 miles on the nose. It's 14 turns to do those 4 miles, and it carves its way through the beautiful countryside here. A lot of elevation change, surprisingly. You wouldn't realize it at first glance, but no other track on the schedule has this much elevation change. And it starts on the climb to turn 1, that long uphill straightaway, one of the highest points on the track. This place is fast, 3rd gear through this corner, about 90 miles an hour minimum speed, and a lot of curbing at the exit. And then, Paul, the passing opportunities start fierce down in turn 5.
Absolutely. There's 2 ways to skin this cat. You can run low downforce and go fast down the straightaways, or you can run more downforce and from 5 to turn 12 have a good handling, balanced car.
This is another place you'll see a lot of contested brake zones, attempts to pass, attempts to block. You complete turn 12, 2 more corners, that finishes a lap. And what a beautiful day and beautiful view it is. No sign of rain right now, but it could come a little bit later.
All right, keep an eye out for your favorite driver. Here comes the grid. Because as Kevin said, youngest ever to win a pole position in IndyCar history, Colton Herta from Harding Steinbrenner Racing, alongside second in the championship at the moment, Alexander Rossi. It's an all-Penske second row.
It's an all-Penske second row, but an all-American front row with those young guys going at it. Graham Rahal, another American, looking to come from inside row 3, along with Takuma Sato, who won earlier at Barber Motorsports Park.
These are the guys right here that are going to want to move forward. Sebastian Bourdais, a previous winner. Scott Dixon with a poor qualifying, had a blown motor. Not really any fault of his own, but he really needs to move forward.
Looking back to row 7, Pato O'Ward comes back into the series, trying to re-establish all the enthusiasm that he had for his young career earlier this year. He'll start alongside Zach Veach, and then some big dogs with Hunter-Reay and Pagenaud in row 8.
Look for Rosenqvist as well. The Swedish rookie has had a solid weekend. Jack Harvey had a scary crash in the opening practice session. Santino Ferrucci had some engine issues, and the veteran Tony Kanaan coming all the way from the back. It is almost time to bring the action, but before we do, let's walk you through the onboard camera shots that we have. because there are plenty, and there are varied. Let's kick it off with thanks to Gallagher. This is Max Chilton. You may remember the storyline from Texas 2 weeks ago. Road and street courses only for the British driver from here on out in the Gallagher Chevrolet. You got to know Santino Ferrucci a little bit better earlier in the show. This is the Clydell Manufacturing onboard. Carries the visor cam. Loves this track. First time here in an IndyCar. He's raced here plenty in a go-kart, not on this big track, but he's happy to be here. How about Captain America? Ryan Hunter-Reay. He almost got the victory last year. He followed Joseph Newgarden home. This is the Auto Nation view. We'll look forward to that. Gainbridge provides the nose cam. This is an awesome shot aboard Andretti Autosport driver Zach Veach's Gainbridge Honda. Can't wait to see plenty of that throughout the show. And a little higher perspective here with Scott Dixon, with thanks to NTT Data. He's coming from 12th position. This is James Hinchcliffe and the Lucas Oil onboard camera. Hinch has felt his car has performed well this week. There's another visor cam. That's Graham Rahal. He's starting on the 3rd row in the Gale Honda for Team RLL. And there's one last on board to show you. That is the front row starter, Alexander Rossi. Will we see a clear track ahead, or will we see plenty of this with thanks to Auto Nation? That is him looking at the gearbox of teenage sensation, Colton Herta. Do you know what? When Colton Herta became the youngest ever winner earlier this year at Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas, people said he got lucky with the caution. When the caution came out, will he win this one from pole to check it? We will see.
It wasn't luck that got him pole. I can't wait to see how turn 1 sorts out as all of these guys charge down the long straightaway.
Colton Herta starting on used tires. Everybody around him is on brand new tires. Can he hang on to that car in the first corner?
Put yourself in the seat of that 88 Guess Honda for Harding Steinbrenner Racing. He's 19 and he's leading an IndyCar field to green. Road America, this is a classic. He has won here in Indy Lights. Can he do it in the big leagues in the NTT INDYCAR Series? They're crawling up the hill. Colton Herta's controlling the pace, and now they go. Here at Road America.
Rossi tucks in behind Herta. 3 in line as they go to turn 1. That's Willpower. Here comes Rossi to the outside. He's going to go big.
Super late start. Rossi around the outside, and he's going to pull that off. He's got to turn in on him here.
Turn 3. Herta's not giving it up. Herta's not giving it up, and it's close. Rossi gets the lead.
That was a great start, but Colton Herta needs to tuck in and follow his teammate now and not get overhauled by Will Power going down into turn 5.
Looked like Power had a run, and he does on Colton Herta. Let's see if he stays in line. He does. Further back, they start to fan out, and here comes
Sato.
The wild thing. Takuma Sato makes a move.
Newgarden dropping back from 4th position. Cars off. No, Dixon. Dixon's in trouble.
That's a wild ride from Ericsson. Here comes Dixon, spins it around, flick spin at turn 5.
Anti-stall. He almost stalled it there.
I think he was in the wrong gear, probably still in 2nd or 3rd gear. Graham Rahal and Sato battle it out.
Did you see Sebastian Bourdais in that Sealmaster Honda almost clean up the back of Joseph Newgarden? There goes Laced on Jack Harvey.
Nice move from Laced. Now they start to fan out a little bit. Carousel corner, super fast. Now they approach the kink, 160 miles an hour through here, and Rossi trying to check out. And Paul, I think you're right. Herta starting on those used tires, a little bit of a disadvantage. But what that means is Colton Herta plans to run the red tires again. He'll have to run sticker reds.
I noticed when we were on the grid that the only Penske cars that were running higher downforce were Newgarden and Power. These other cars have got less downforce and go faster down the straightaway. I really feel that's why Newgarden has dropped back on the start. Look, he's all the way back there behind Sato.
Lap 1 done, and Alexander Rossi has told us what he plans on doing in this race. Remember the theme? Tired of finishing 2nd. Rossi leads Herta, Power, Rahal, his teammate Sato, then Newgarden, Hinchcliffe, Bourdais, Spencer Pickett a good start, so too Marco Andretti.
You really got to manage to push to pass here, Townsend. The straightaways are so long that you can completely run out of it if you're over anxious with it.
Find out what happened to Scott Dixon here going to turn 5. There you see Hunter-Reay behind Dixon. Dixon gets wide on the curb on turn-in and has to check up. Hunter-Reay gets into the back of him. We understand it's under review, but I think I'm going to point to the mistake from Dixon. They've got to consider that in the ruling here.
Yeah, he got kind of sideways there on the brakes, locked it up on that curb, and over-slowed. We'll see here. Watch the hands. As he comes down here, he gets on the curb. Watch his hands. He's all sideways, and then he gets tapped from Hunter-Reay.
So I wonder how race control will see that. Let's watch the start again.
Watch the move from Alexander Rossi, the blue and yellow. Napa, Honda, side by side, wheel to wheel with young Colton Herta, and kept his foot in it to go right around the outside.
Terrific stuff. Colton Herta with a great jump on the start. Totally legal, right in the start zone. Rossi drops right into the draft, and look at how that affects his straight line speed coming to one. Gives him a chance to get a wheel up on Herta.
Couldn't put a piece of paper between those two cars. That's a lot of trust in the 19-year-old by Rossi.
Smart move from Herta, though, to tuck back in there at turn 3. That was close, by the way. We've already heard from race control. No action between Ryan Hunter-Reay and Scott Dixon.
And Lee, you said that Alexander Rossi was giving us an idea of what his plan was. He literally told me, that's the plan. I'm getting the lead. As we see Hinchcliffe try to look into the inside here. Yeah, I'm going to get the lead in the first corner because that's my best chance. Action already heating up here.
See what happened when Hinch pulled out of the draft there. He totally fell off the back. He looks like he's got a little bit more downforce, but Sato just got blocked by, oh, those guys touch.
Hinchcliffe and Sato get into it at the bottom of the hill.
And I think Sato should have let Hinch go because Sato tried to dive in on Newgarden in turn 1. It didn't work. He lost momentum, and now he's going to get freight train going to turn 5. Pagano gets by.
Bottom of your screen, Spencer Pickett in that blue car working on the Sealmaster Honda of Sebastian Bourdais. Zach Beach in the middle there in the mix.
Got to start thinking about fuel mileage now, but here's a replay. Nice run. And watch, and he pulls out. Sato it's down the inside, and Sato turns in right there, and they make contact. Wheel to side pod. So that is under review now, so we'll see what they do about that.
I don't think they should do anything. Kind of a racing incident. Frankly, Sato sort of forcing the issue after having to check up in turn 1. Well, right on board with Veach, who's got a terrific run, and that's the turbulent air that'll get your car wide in the kink, and that's a scary moment.
That was at about 175 miles an hour from Zach Veach. Up front, Alexander Rossi has almost a 2-second lead over Colton Herta, and Herta has an even more impressive gap over third place Will Power.
Yeah, they've got 5 seconds on Power in literally 4 laps, so Rossi and Herta are absolutely flying, and Power's pretty much got the rest of the pack behind him.
Simon Pagano making another move. Look at that on the inside, trying to get another spot. He is up 5 already, making 6 for the Indy 500 winners. He goes around Ed Jones. They did start on scuffed tires. It's going to be a game of tire wear and how long you can make those tires work. So like a lot of people, you mentioned it, PT, they started on scuffs. He said already tires are starting to degrade. That makes the racing fantastic. We like that, but Simon Pagano, impressive, up 6 spots early.
A little frustrated in qualifying that he wasn't higher, but he's making up for it now. There's Takuma Sato in the blue and white MyJack car. He gets through on Ed Jones. Ed Jones tries to fight it, cannot, runs wide. Here's Rosenquist at the back of that pack in the light blue NTT data car. He squeezes through on Pato O'Ward.
Just the update on Sato. No action taken from race control on the previous side-by-side contact with Hinch as we ride now with Ryan Hunter-Reay, who's trying to make his way back up through the field.
Scott Dixon has now caught back up to the back of the pack. I just saw him pass Chilton for a position.
Race leader is Andretti Autosports' Alexander Rossi. He started with a move like this. He's never finished in the top 10 here. Today, he's ready to change that. In the Dale Coyne Clydell Manufacturing Honda, the first to pit. We've got a problem on track here. It's Marcus Ericsson in the Arrow Schmidt-Peterson Honda.
All right, nothing's coming.
And that is exactly why you would take the alternate strategy, because if a yellow comes out, that would really pay off.
But everything looks all right here. How's it feel?
Good job from Ericsson to keep the car going to the gravel,
okay.
But no yellow will come now.
Let's shake it off, clean your tires up, let's get back after it.
What might have led to this.
I think him and Dixon were running together.
Making a move on Ed Jones.
Yeah,
Ericsson.
He locked it way up. Can't get stopped. Gas it up through the gravel to not get stuck in there, because if you back off, you'll get stuck. Lucky to keep it off the tires.
This is a little bit earlier between Ed Jones on the left, Zach Veach on the right in that yellow, blue, and black car. So Jones goes through. Now he's starting to get taily. Zach Veach comes back on him.
That was over in Canada corner, and boy, Ed Jones is having a real busy day trying to defend. Not working out in his favor as we ride on board with Veach. Let's see these guys go side by side. Veach trying to do the over-under. It works. But squares off the exit.
He's stuck on the outside, and Ed says, I'm not giving it up, and bangs wheels with him.
That was a nice passage through for Felix Rosenquist and Pato Award as well. On board with Scott Dixon. Scott Dixon now runs 18th, up from 23rd. And a quick reminder, for the first time in more than 68 years, golf's most storied major returns to Northern Ireland, to Royal Portrush. You can watch hometown favourite Rory McIlroy, then Tiger Woods and the best golfers in the world compete to be called the Champion Golfer of the Year, the Open, July 18 to 21. Can't wait for that. So working lap 7 of 55 here at Road America. This is the race leader in the Napa Honda. Alexander Rossi has cleared out. That's what 3 seconds looks like. Back to teenage sensation Colton Herta, who started from the pole position today.
So for these two guys now, lap 7, we'll have to see how they do over the next 6 or 7 laps. About a 14-lap stint you need to do this thing on 3 stops, and we'll be watching the lap times for Rossi and Herta and see how those reds hang in there. As a reminder, Herta started on used reds, Rossi on new red tires.
The crazy part is Rossi's speed right now. In 7 laps, he's pulled 9 seconds on Will Power.
There's the biggest movers of the race. Simon Pagenaud up 8, Felix Rosenquist up 6. Pagenaud runs 8th, Rosenquist runs just outside the top 10 in 12th position. So 25 points back in the championship coming into this 10th round. Alexander Rossi, he will bridge that gap if he keeps this kind of form going. Off to a terrific start.
Laps in, guys are complaining about their tires going off already. Yeah, mine as well.
Scramble here from the back. The orange and blue PNC Bank Honda of Scott Dixon, the 5-time series champion who spun on the opening lap, got tagged by Ryan Hunter-Reay, has now caught back up with Ryan Hunter-Reay. Dixon has been on a mission. He's come from 23rd to 15th. There's only been 3 cars stop in the race thus far. That's Santino Ferrucci, Jack Harvey, and Matthias Laced. Let's ride with Dixon in this forward pursuit.
So fun to ride on board with Scott Dixon, coming from the back, as you mentioned, Lee, but he also has those primary harder tires as he tries to get another spot. A lot of these guys in front of him have those softer red wall Firestone tires. They're quicker, they fall off faster, so Dixon feels like this is the window where they can take advantage, and they actually feel in the 9 camp the red tires are not that bad, so they may use reds for the rest of the race for Scott Dixon, who's driving with a little bit of purpose, I think it's fair to say, Lee.
Oh, it sure is. He is on a mission. This is Zach Veach ahead. He's going to go up the inside into turn 1, just like that.
And that might be the crossover point, like Marty said, on the tires. Veach on the softer compound, Dixon on the harder tire, and I'm sure Hunter Ray is anxious for those reds to start falling apart because Hunter Ray's also on the harder black tire, hoping to see the crossover happen. But we're at lap 10, only probably 3 or 4 laps until pit stops happen. So to Marty's point, the reds are hanging in pretty tough.
I want to take you back just a couple of moments ago to show you pole sitter and second place runner now, Colton Herter. As we look at the carousel, there he is live, some 6 seconds in arrears. This is turn 5 at the bottom of the hill. Hang on, hang on.
A little bit wide there, and then big tire spin coming off of the runoff area, and that's not going to help him catch the leader in Rossi. But look at now Power starting to claw his way back to Colton Herta. You can see him now coming into the picture.
Front runners' lap times are starting to decrease, notably so for obviously Herta there with that hiccup, but Rossi's times are dropping by 2, 3, 4 tenths of a second at the front. We'll monitor that, as Townsend said, broaching that first pit stop window.
So watching Rossi cross start finish for the 10th time, 147.6. Lap 2 for Rossi was a 145.6. But I think Colton Herta's really struggling as Marco Andretti falls a position to Scott Dixon. Dixon now up to 13th position. And
black tires, Townsend, I feel, are probably better than the reds. We'll see how if he's making fuel mileage too.
Only at the end of the stint though here. We're lap 11. So I think the reds are surprisingly lasting longer than we thought as Hunter Ray makes a move on Spencer Pigot into turn 1.
Hunter Ray also on black tires, so he's making passes. Right here, another pass here for Dixon. So these black tires right now are certainly better than reds. 10, 11 laps into a 14-lap run, Marty.
I can tell you every strategist is watching this battle that we're watching right now on television because they know that both Dixon and Ryan Hunter-Reay are on the primary tires, and they see them carving their way through the field with the other guys who are on the red softer tires, which again are quicker but fall off much faster. So everyone is noting that. So if you want to be good at the end of the run, I think the primary tire is the way to go for the rest of this race.
Dixon was 23rd 9 laps ago, and now he is up just outside the top 10.
His teammate is making good work of it as well. That's Felix Rosenquist in the NTT INDYCAR. Here he is, one of this very talented field of rookies, Dylan. He's off to a good start in this one.
Well, and Lee, to Marty's point, Felix is also on the black tires as well. He's up 8 spots from the start, so just came on the radio and said that he's trying to save them. So that's good news if he's being a little conservative and is still able to move forward and advance his position.
The other thing the teams need to be aware of is when they pit, where their driver will slot back out on the track if some cars don't pit, because track position obviously important. Despite Hunter-Reay and Dixon looking racy on the blacks, they're still about 1.5 seconds to 2 seconds slower than the leaders because they're stuck in traffic. So that's really important in terms of when you pit and where you think your driver will come out on a track.
Herta started on used reds, which I think was probably the worst option out there because now he has Power 1 second behind him.
Good point. Herta's last lap a 149.2 to Power's 148.1.
Let's not discount Graham Rahal in the background either. Here comes the Gale car. Remember, in the colors of his dad's car, Bobby, back in 1994, those MGD colors. Celebrating 25 years of Honda in American open wheel racing, and a Honda leads at the hands of Alexander Rossi. You're watching NBC's coverage of IndyCar, brought to you by the all-new Chevy Silverado, the strongest, most advanced Silverado ever. And by NTT, official sponsor and technology partner of the NTT INDYCAR Series. And this is Graham Rahal, who has got around Colton Herta during the break. Will Power got by him as well. So it's Alexander Rossi, Will Power, Graham Rahal, Herta down to fourth, and it's kind of only a matter of time before he comes in. This was the scrap that went on between Power and Herta.
Colton Herta's tires are gone, Townsend. And look, Will Power gets a nice little run here, pops out, and squares up the corner here and gets a nice draft all the way down the straightaway, but Colton fought it all the way down to the corner.
See what happens here coming to turn 5. Power with a great run. They're both on the push to pass button. Herta trying to defend to the inside, Power to the outside. And this is the Power move.
And it's not over yet. Watch. Slight contact. That allowed Graham Rahal to get even closer. He's in. Kev?
Colton Herta going from the scuffed red, so he's still going to use a set of sticker reds, and this is a long stop. They are apparently having a problem with the fuel. They go to primary Firestones. No changes. Back out, Marty.
Championship leader Joseph Newgarden already gone. You see Sebastian Bourdais leaving Ryan Hunter-Reay as well. Also coming in was the Indy 500 winner Simon Pagenaud. We'll see where all these guys blend out, but pretty much every team who was on that red sidewall tire said they were gone at the end of the run. Newgarden and his teammate Pagenaud taking sticker black tires.
We're going to see how good Colton is on new tires, stickers, as Jack Harvey gets down the inside of Ryan Hunter-Reay right there. Slight drop off on the exit for Hunter-Reay. Harvey is challenging on the outside down to turn 5.
Top 7 cars yet to pit. That's Rossi, Power, Rahal, Rosenquist, Dixon, Veach, and Ericsson. James Hinchcliffe, Takuma Sato came in during the break. Sato had a wild off-track ride just back there through that huge gravel trap on driver's right at turn 5. Here is the race leader in, Alexander Rossi. 7th different race he's led this year. That ties the championship leader, Joseph Newgarden.
And Rob Edwards, who calls strategy, told me before the race, we want to try to stay away from pitting at the same time as Colton Herta. His pit box is right behind Herta's, and that worked out perfectly with Herta on the used tire, so he needed to come in earlier. Rossi hits his mark. Will Power, Graham Rahal also expected in this time. You're going to see Rahal, there he is, coming by right and the left, so Rossi has to wait just a split second as Rahal digs in, and Rossi is back out, Marty.
Scott Dixon with such an impressive run. You see him on the right-hand side of your screen, slowly coming up pit road. Graham Rahal leaving his pit stall, but Dixon just so good from 23rd up into the top 10 and drove his way there. In fact, at one point during the run, he told Mike Hull, the strategist, we're better than everybody in front of us. You see the sticker red tires going on for Scott Dixon, the turn of wing to compensate for that. He's happy with the car and driving with a little bit of anger inside the helmet as well after that lap 1 spin.
That's Joseph Newgarden whipping by Graham Rahal, but Newgarden had been out there for quite some time. He pitted on lap 13, and so he goes by. His tires were already up to temperature.
Newgarden on hot tires, Graham Rahal right out of the pits on cold tires, and here's a view of it. He got a nice run off turn 1, cold tires, and he just easily went down into turn 2 and got by.
Let's go back to this Colton Herta stop and try to figure out what's going on with the fueler. We zoom in there, and it's just like fuel's not flowing on the NBC. So frustrating. Colton must be thinking, are you kidding me?
Same issue that Rossi had at the Indy 500. The fueler had to lean down and turn that valve on to get the fuel to flow.
Look at this. Scott Dixon is ahead of Sebastian Bourdais and Ryan Hunter-Reay from being dead last on lap 1. What a comeback drive this is from the 5-time champion.
And most importantly, Dixon 21 seconds behind the leader. That's remarkable. For a race that hasn't had any yellows, to only be 21 seconds back, it's huge.
And Townsend, let's put this in perspective for Scott Dixon and talk about the weekend they've had as he's in the 10th position. We ride on board with Ryan Hunter-Ray right now just behind Scott Dixon. And all weekend they have struggled. Setup-wise, they were terrible on Friday. He said, I don't know what's going on. The car just feels so disconnected. We seem lost. And then on Saturday, in the middle of qualifying, he lost an engine. They had to replace that engine. It was an older mileaged out engine, so they expected to replace it after this race. They had to do it a little bit early, so they have come from behind all weekend long, Scott Dixon, and here he is in the top 10. Another pass there for Ryan Hunter-Ray.
Well, he's still got some work to do. He has third fastest race lap at a 1:45.7. The fastest race lap is Alexander Rossi at a 45.2.
Rossi's boasting just over an 8-second lead over Will Power. Here he is. This is a very much Long Beach-esque drive by Alexander Rossi. Back on lap 1, look to the right, the orange and blue car, Scott Dixon up high on that ripple strip, then gets tagged by Ryan Hunter-Ray. Scott was trying to get the car under control himself, and then maybe Ryan had a little bit of target fixation, or his car got loose as well. Tagged, they went around, race control reviewed it, Marcus Ericsson avoided it, no further action taken, and then Ryan Hunter-Ray and Scott Dixon set about catching up and getting through the rest of the field. What a comeback it has been. Some may say this is very Dixon-esque. There is Scott in the background. So Herta's already got past Santino Ferrucci, who pitted way back on lap 5. Dixon is on the move. 10th place, how high can he climb?
Ferrucci all the way up now into P9 as well. He's on an alternate strategy to everybody.
So while it's relatively calm up front for Alexander Rossi, the racing has been fierce down through the field here at Road America. What a day. Next Sunday, NASCAR returns to the networks of NBC. The sport's top drivers start the second half and the race to the championship at Chicagoland. NASCAR is back on NBCSN next Sunday at 3 o'clock Eastern. Looking forward to that. That means today, Fox wraps up their portion of the season. And while television networks, don't get me wrong, we are highly competitive, there's a lot of friendship, commonality, and camaraderie between the networks and the people, the employees. With that being said, on behalf of everybody here at IndyCar on NBC, we want to congratulate Darrell Waltrip, NASCAR Hall of Famer. After 19 years behind the microphone, today in Sonoma, California will be DW's final broadcast. I've worked with him before during my years at Speed Channel. Congratulations, DW. It's been quite the run.
Terrific job, DW. First win back in 1975. That's 44 years. I know that because I was born in 75. And to go that long and have that much passion is truly inspiring. So congratulations.
Absolutely awesome. I've always been a big fan. You were an aggressive driver. You always did what it took to win and enjoy the retirement. We know you're not going to stay away from the track, though.
A little bit more golf time. Somebody who likes to play some golf is our Marty Snyder. Who are you with, Marty?
Easy now, and congratulations to DW from everyone here on pit road as well. You'll never know who you find loitering around here at Road America. Elio Castroneves, multiple-time winner of the Indy 500. So what are you doing here at Road America?
Well, basically, obviously the association with the Rev Group. It's great to see Joseph really well with delivery of the Rev in the car, but you know, being a Wisconsin-based manufacturer, they did a great partnership with, obviously, with the Road America, and for me to be here, you know, just supporting, and they're paying a huge tribute for the first responders. By the way, all the first responders, they're coming over here, and yesterday came here. Yesterday, they like no ticket, so it's great to have that kind of like, you know, commodity, and for us as a driver or as a civilian, I mean, having the first responders out there to helping us out is an incredible feat. So hopefully, let's see how it's going to go with this race. It seems to be a lot of calculation, a lot of strategy, something that I don't see it, you know, but it's kind of like interesting to find out, and let's see what happens.
So for you, you're on the timing stand. It's a little different, isn't it?
It sucks, but you know, it is what it is. You know, you just got to keep going. But you know, it's great to see the work, the team behind the work of the scenes, because normally you just focus. They're telling you what to do. It makes a lot of sense. So they should tell me this before, you know. But in the end of the day, it's great to be here with all the folks. But it's tough. It's kind of like tough to see they're doing a phenomenal job of that driving. But it's all good.
I saw a button on your radio that would normally let people talk. Is yours disengaged? You're not allowed to talk?
Normally, there is a button that they call an Helio button because I talk too much. However, I'm here with Simon because I think Kyle doesn't stop me to speaking, but no, it's great. It's great to understand a little bit more, and like I said, all 3 Penske cars look very strong right now.
All right, Kevin, we'll see Helio next week at Watkins Glen for IMSA.
Can't wait for that for the 6-hour race. Good look at Graham Rahal there, running right behind James Hinchcliffe in that throwback livery to his dad Bob's car in 1994. And this is such a special place for the Rahal family. Bobby said, I first came here when I was 6 years old. His dad Mike raced here many years in SCCA. And Graham said, I used to wreak havoc along with kids like Marco back here in the day. And he said, I won my first big national go-kart race here. And that man there, his chief mechanic outside or inside tire changer is Donnie Stewart. And Donnie was his tuner, his mechanic back in the go-kart days. He's been with Graham pretty much his entire life, all but about 2 years, so really special. The Rahals have not won here. Quite a few podiums, 8 between dad and son, and they'd love to get a win here today. Dylan Welch.
And Kevin, Marco Andretti has encountered some gremlins under the hood of his race car. He came on the radio just a few laps ago, said he thought it was blowing up. So strategist Brian Herta, who, by the way, is fresh off a trip to the Nürburgring 24 Hours event, he told Marco to come down pit road. They're going to plug the car in here and look at the data because they recycled the ignition, or Marco recycled the ignition and said it fired back up, but still having some issues. So he's on pit road, and they're going to try and diagnose exactly what's wrong with his race car.
And look at the frustration on Marco's face. Meanwhile, back to racing on track. This is Simon Pagenaud in 6th. Pole sitter, Colton Herta 7th. Order is Rossi, Power, Newgarden, and Hinchcliffe, Rahal, these 2. Then Rosenquist, who's having a terrific day. Scott Dixon, his teammate, up to 9th, and Ryan Hunter-Reay 10th.
And what a difference a pit stop can make for Colton Herta. I'm sure he's still probably in shock after such a dominant weekend in practice and qualifying to start on pole. He did lose the position to Rossi on the start, but now he finds himself 20 seconds back and struggling to figure out how to get around Pagenaud.
Got a little run here. He's going to take a look. Pagenaud sees it, makes him go to the outside, and he's deep on the brakes and turns in on him, and they make big contact.
Second time that Herta's had wheel-to-wheel contact.
Rosenquist goes flying through, says, thanks, fellas. I'll take those 2 spots. Herta almost hits Dixon. Dixon stays to the inside. That was pretty hairy stuff. Pagenaud's car is wounded, I'm pretty sure.
Well, it went into anti-stall mode. It's like it stalled the motor and the revs cut off, so he's trying to get the thing started again, and it cost him a lot of time, but the guy who made out there was Dixon. He just swooped by all of them.
I'm not sure that the steering wheel didn't get knocked out of Simon Pagenaud's hands. Watch this side-to-side contact. Right there, you can see his hands. Yeah, it slipped right off the wheel. He goes straight, trying to find the steering wheel again, trying to save his wrist from being broken, and there goes Colton Herta. And now we get to see Dixon.
Check him out. He's just coming along here. I'll pass you.
Watch this.
And I'll take you as well.
Wow. George Steinbrenner, the 4th there, co-team owner. He's like, wow, what happened? What was that about?
Well, that was about Herta putting the squeeze on Simon Pagenaud, and Simon Pagenaud not giving up. So
big winners there with a Ganassi pairing of Felix Rosenquist and Scott Dixon. So Rosenquist now up to 6th, Dixon in 7th. Repeating the story, Scott Dixon was 23rd and last on the first lap right here at turn 5. He's now 7th. This man continues to be the leader, Alexander Rossi. He's led all 21 laps. Moving at a much slower speed and nowhere near as savvy as the current field, the NBC Sports IndyCar broadcast team and production team took to the track, the go-kart track here at Road America. I have to say the youngsters were good. Jackson Bell and Dylan Welsh. Jackson, the son of Townsend and Heather, and our young Dylan Welsh making his NBC network debut today. They were super quick. It was a lot of fun. Terry Lingner, our producer, with the checkered flag there. What happened, Townsend and PT?
Listen, I still finished on the podium, but I nerfed Paul out of the way on the first lap, first corner, just to make sure there was no chrome hornet going on.
I don't like you touching me.
You disappeared. You disappeared faster than Rossi.
I had a bad cart.
Time to go through the field, and we start with Kevin Lee. Kev, kick it off.
Well, it's going according to plan for Alexander Rossi, who said he wanted to take advantage of the start on the new tires, the Firestone alternates. He knew Colton Herta was on the used, and he felt his best chance to grab it was right at the beginning. Rob Edwards is only telling him right now, just look after it, and so far according to plan. And right behind him, or actually I should say behind him, it's not right behind him, it's almost 15 seconds behind, is Will Power. But he thinks the car is pretty good right now, so Power wants no changes on his next stop. We'll find out soon whether he's going to go to the alternates or another set of the primary Firestone tires. Will Power just wants to put it all together. He hasn't won since Gateway towards the end of last season, Marty.
Kevin approaching a critical second stop in this race, which could come up in 2 to 3 laps. And because these big gaps you've been talking about, these pit stops could be massive for these teams. Championship leader Joseph Newgarden, they're going to go to blacks as well, the primary tires. They asked him, do you want any changes? He said, no, I think we're good where we are car-wise. Need a caution, though, to kind of catch up this field, Kevin.
James Hinchcliffe is one of the better movers, up 5 spots from the start of this race, and he was very uncertain what he was going to have going in, except on the primaries, which he's on right now. He's moving through the field, and Graham Rahal right behind him in 5th, just radioed in a little while ago. Where did Hinchcliffe find a second? Graham's been trying to chase him down for a while, but can't get there. Graham's happy with his car so far, too, Dylan.
And Kevin Felix Rosenquist having a great day so far, running in the 6th spot. Talking to his strategist, Barry Wanzer, he said he can win any time. He's talented, he's smart behind the wheel, leads this team with his attitude. He is refreshing. Well, something else refreshing is this run so far. Up 12 spots from where he started the day. They ran the primary blacks to start, switched to the reds on this stop, and said that Felix said that the car felt pretty good. He was just nursing those reds.
Scott Dixon in 7th, just getting passed there by Colton Herta. So Scott Dixon drops back to the 8th position for him. Mike Hull told him go hard for 3 or 4 laps, but Herta clearly a little bit better here. Herta is on those black primary tires, Scott Dixon on those red sidewall tires. So those tires falling off here at the end of the run, Kevin.
And Colton Herta did just get around Scott Dixon and move into that 7th position. We saw that slow stop, trouble getting the fuel probe in. It wasn't a mechanical issue with the probe. They just didn't have it seated properly, so they haven't had to make any equipment change. Right now, they're thinking about going to primary blacks for their next stop. Let's slide back to the 9th position, Marty, and find Simon Pagenaud in that bright yellow Menards car.
Who had a terrific run going, Kevin. He had come up from the back of the field. 16th is where he started. He was running 7th when he had that contact earlier with Colton Herta. He thought he might have had a front wing damage, but he said it is okay. So kind of hanging out here, waiting for this next stop for Simon Pagenaud. Behind him, Ryan Hunter-Reay in the 10th position, rounding out the top 10. He said at the beginning of the weekend that the car was more in the window than it had been all year long, meaning they had a very successful Friday until qualifying on Saturday. They got caught out, had a car in front of them, had to slow down on his first qualifying lap, then on his second qualifying lap, he said, I messed up. But showing the speed in that car, started 18th today. He's up to 10th. Behind him, Sebastian Bourdais, he's in the 11th position. He is hanging on at the end of these runs. Everyone talking about the tire degradation and how these tires fall off. He's on the primaries. He said, these are better, but he said they are not hanging on as much as I would like. Takuma Sato coming to pit road. We talked about that second window of everybody stopping here. Sato coming in, the winner at Barber. He goes to the primary tires for him as well. The car not been handling to their liking, and they have been on that very low downforce setting. So this second round of stops starting here at lap 26.
So to me, it seems pretty clear if you look at the pace of Rossi up front on blacks, you're going to want to finish this race on blacks. Unfortunately for Colton Herta, he still has to run sticker reds. Up front, though, it's total destruction. Alexander Rossi, 17 seconds ahead of Will Power. This is shades of Long Beach earlier this year.
I'll tell you, when this guy, they're calling him in here.
Slow. We're trying to get help if you get to him.
So,
no changes on the next stop.
Yeah, he's coming in next lap, and when he gets out front, he absolutely just destroys everybody. That's the history of this guy. But the problem this year has been getting to the front. He's been there, but he's just had a lot of little things with guys and ends up not being in the winner's circle.
Look at how good the balance is on this 27 Napa car. Little roll bar adjustment there to the front roll bar. But I'm just amazed at the end of the tire stint. Watch how controlled the rear end is here at exit. No oversteer whatsoever, no wheel spin.
Smooth and steady and lightning quick.
Not going to be any easier to watch this. Dominating performance by his teammate for Marco Andretti, who's standing by with Dylan Welsh.
And Lee, they are done for the day. Marco, what issue did you feel on the racetrack?
It felt to me electrical. It was really shortening out. I was getting good runs in the beginning off the corners, and guys were just driving around me. But yeah, it seemed uncurable. We weren't sure about it, so we didn't want to, we didn't want to continue because they didn't know how to fix it.
That's Marco Andretti, and again, they are done for the day. Electrical issues on the 98.
Had a fair few amount of issues with the Honda crew this weekend. Dixon blowing up, Santino stopped on track in qualifying. Now Marco falling out of the race.
Meanwhile, there's a Honda leading though. Look at pit lane. Lots of teams getting ready for this next round of stops. There's not going to be any form of panic or rush for this team. The Napa Auto Parts Honda. No coming in this time for Alexander Rossi. He's got now 18 seconds of buffer.
One car leaving pit lane now.
It's the calming voice of Rob Edwards, the managing director of Andretti Autosport.
He's absolutely flying and making crazy fuel mileage. It's unbelievable.
Well, look how close it is, though, between the teammates. Will Power in second and Joseph Newgarden in third. There's only a second between those guys. So he clears. Here is Joseph Newgarden in, Marty.
Yeah, I think the key for Joseph Newgarden is here. Can he gain any time on his teammate Will Power, who's sitting in second and going to run a lap longer than him? It's going to be sticker primary tires for Joseph Newgarden, who said he was pretty happy with the car. And look at all those teams that are laid out here on pit road. We'll see what the championship leader does, Kevin.
So James Hinchcliffe is in. Also, we see Joseph Newgarden in. Newgarden going to the primaries. Colton Hurta is also making a stop as we see Scott Dixon and Simon Pagenaud go by. Hurta still has to use that sticker set of reds later on. No problems with the fuel this time, and Hurta is back out.
Scott Dixon at the head of pit road. He's pitting here. You see him at the very bottom of your screen. He leaves along with Simon Pagenaud. Sebastian Bourdais sitting here as well. Mike Hull told Dixon, we're coming in this lap. I need an excellent in lap. We need to gain all we can. We'll see where these guys blend out. Leaders should be coming this time.
I tell you what, Rossi hasn't pitted yet, and these guys on cold tires and guys with hot tires, this is when accidents happen. Rossi could go in the danger zone here if it goes yellow, and one of these guys goes off the track on cold tires, Townsend.
Yep, absolutely. And that'll happen again on the next sequence of pit stops, the last sequence of pit stops to end the race. So we'll keep an eye on that battle as Dixon has Zach Veach looking very racy. Veach made a move on Pagenaud right out of the pits, and he wants more. When does the race leader come to pit road? He comes right now. Kevin Lee's there.
Alexander Rossi rolling in. He's going to keep an eye on Ed Jones, and they'll hold Ed Jones, so no problem there. Rossi for his second stop of the day. Solid stint. He had about an 18-second lead. Now he's going to have to watch for traffic as he exits. He's going to another set of primary Firestone Speedway fuel, and no issues. A clean exit for Alexander Rossi, who heads back out to see if he can continue to command this race.
And everything's going their way. They nailed the pit stop of 7.8 seconds with a full load of fuel and brand new Firestones.
Now the battle watch is going to be Will Power launching from his box. Graham Rahall's in. We'll have to see how they blend, Kevin.
From the top five, Graham Rahal in, going from primary Firestones to black cycle primary Firestones again, and that's a really strong stop for Rahal. Watch where he cycles in.
Be interesting to see where Newgarden comes out. There he is. Will he get his teammate? He's a little bit too far back. He might have a shot by turn 5.
Power's on cold tires, so he'll catch him pretty quick here in turn 3, but then Power will build temperature. I don't think he's close enough, like you said, Paul. These two guys lived together the majority of that past stint, and it seems like it's going to be the same for this next one. And unable to do anything about Alexander Rossi up front. It's been a really encouraging day for the Arrow Schmidt Peterson Honda of James Hinchcliffe. Really good, strong run, while his rookie teammate Marcus Ericsson, I want to say he's struggled, but he's found Road America quite a daunting challenge. Teammates together, but Power with the upper hand. That's as it was coming into that sequence of stops. And Newgarden, with positions as they run, would still maintain the championship lead over Alexander Rossi, but a much less an advantage.
He's got a run there.
Oh, Power's
Will
wide.
Power got a little loose there, and Newgarden's going to be all over him. If he can stay close and get that push to pass, he's going to make a run.
Boy! Newgarden on that new exit curve almost threw it away.
185 miles an hour. The teammates almost wheel to wheel. Canada corner. Power the inside. Newgarden, the championship leader, the outside.
That was all set up in the carousel. Power got really loose, and that left the door wide open for Newgarden, but Power blocked the move to the inside down at Canada corner.
Team orders at Team Penske are best man wins.
Yes.
All the time.
Wow, that was...
He's got to run again.
Incredible. Check it out. Top left of your screen.
So Power gets wide. Now Newgarden has a run, but he's in dirty air through the fastest corner on the track. Newgarden's front end's going to push off, and it's hard to see from that distance, but Newgarden was the first I've seen to experiment with that new, very harsh concrete exit curve here, and then he tries to send it up the outside of Canada corner.
Yeah, Will Power saw that move getting set up, and he strategically placed his car right in the middle of the road and forced Newgarden to go the outside the long way, and that's the hard way.
Hinchcliffe in the background. Running a fine fourth in Graham Rahal. Colton Herter, Scott Dixon, Felix Rosenquist. So that order has changed within the Ganassi camp. And then Simon Pagenaud and Ryan Hunter-Reay, the top 10. But Alexander Rossi in a league of his own today. Quick reminder that July 9th, superstars Jeff Foxworthy, Chrissy Teigen, and Keenan Thompson are searching for the next big name in comedy, from sketch to variety and stand-up, whatever it might be. Bring the Funny premieres Tuesday, July 9, right here on NBC. Well, maybe not quite so funny, but we could be a little bit silly, Robin Miller, because is it too early to talk about silly season rumors, even though we're only in June?
No, Diff, I think the thing that's interesting is usually silly season involves 3 or 4 or 5 drivers, 2 or 3 different teams, and this year silly season's one person, Alexander Rossi. Whatever happens to him, then the dominoes will fall. But right now, Michael Andretti told us a couple weeks ago he wants to stay with Andretti and Andretti wants to keep him. They just got to have money. So right now they're waiting on Napa to decide what they're going to do. Is Napa going to fund him for the whole season? Are they going to come back with a partial offer? Then what will Honda do? Will Honda give him free engines? Will Honda give him money? Will give him wind tunnel time? So the Andretti thing's still alive. In the meantime, you heard me say something to Tim Cindric yesterday. I kind of ambushed him a little bit about, now you guys been saying you're going to have you're not going to run 4 cars full time, but I think Marty knows this too, that Team Penske's definitely in the running. So I think between those 2 guys, and Chip Ganassi's probably the outside guy. He's probably the 3rd guy that they're looking at. So silly season's all about Rossi. We said, can we go on camera and talk about it? He goes, nope, things are too sensitive right now. He said, give me a couple weeks.
All right, thanks for the update. Interesting. We'll continue to watch it.
Well, I'll tell you what, whoever wants Rossi and doesn't get him will be taking a look at this guy. Colton Herta, terrible luck on the pit stop, but pace has been good. Youngest ever pole sitter and race winner, and he's getting closer to Graham Rahal.
Now remember, he still needs to run the alternate tires, the Redwall softer compound tires. That will be coming up in his next stint. So he's trying to get as far forward as he can, Paul.
He definitely is. He had the bad pit stop, but he just ran the fastest lap of the race so far.
There's those sticker reds waiting for Herta on the final stint.
This is the fight for a top 5. Rahal holds on to that at the moment. What has been a really encouraging weekend for Graham. Good qualifying, and finally there's a race that seems to be going his way. Scott Dixon in the background there. You just saw him in that last shot, well behind Colton Herta. Dixon running in 7th.
And with Colton Herta turning the fastest lap of the race, I'm sure he's wishing that he maybe didn't start on those used reds. As you see the Chevy driver update, Simon Pagenaud up 7 positions, running in 9th. But it's been a tough day getting bounced around a little bit, Marty, through racing through the field.
Yeah, remember he was from 16th up to 7th and then got bounced around, as you mentioned, fell back to 11th, has driven his way back to 9th, and I think it's very impressive what he's been able to do today, passing tons of cars after starting 16th. I love what he said to us in the pre-race show, guys. Love to get your take on it as well. He told me earlier this week and admitted it on the pre-race show that, hey, the hangover from the Indy 500 is real. He said, I didn't think it would be, but the media obligations, all the things I had to do, it really took my focus away from racing more than I wanted it to. They've had up and down results since the big win at the Indy 500, really sweeping the month of May. But I think that's a legitimate thing, Townsend. You have to do all this media after the Indy 500 win. There's a lot of obligations, and sometimes it can take your focus away from the core thing.
Well, and it keeps going, Marty, because midweek he was at the NHL Awards presenting with Kurt Busch. So you get out of your comfort zone of what you do for training. But look at this.
Oh.
This could be a big issue. A big piece of concrete in the middle of the track right there. That is not something you'd want kicked up into a driver's face. So we might get a yellow because certainly that is a hazard on the track.
I think that race control needs to take a look at that. Plus, in the kink, the fastest corner on the track, look at all of that spent Firestone rubber building up. That's going to factor in. If two guys go side by side through the kink, only one is going to come out. Right now, Alexander Rossi looking at that big chunk of asphalt over in turn 8 or 7, excuse me, and saying, don't worry, it's fine, not an issue. He doesn't want a yellow right now.
Yeah, but hit that and you will immediately get a punctured tire. And at this high speed of a track, you puncture a tire and you could go immediately off track and into the wall. So it'll be interesting to see what IndyCar does. They typically don't like to throw a lot of full course cautions.
Yeah, but in that case, that's a 3-pound cannonball sitting over there. That big chunk.
It was a big chunk.
I completely agree 100%. I'm just playing devil's advocate with you, Down.
You don't normally do that, Paul. Devil's advocate.
Look at that.
Look at that. That thing's big. There's several pieces.
Yeah, there's more than one piece. So there's a whole bunch of big concrete rocks, and if a car hits that and flicks it into a driver's face, big trouble.
This is a monstrous lead from Alexander Rossi. It is getting close to 20 seconds ahead of Will Power. What a demonstration of strength and speed today from the Andretti driver.
Yeah, he's so far out in front that when you're chasing, it's almost impossible to catch back up, because what happens is you just can't see the guy in front of you anymore, and you don't have any reference of your catching. So
not only is he gone, but every lap on average is quicker than the field. So Rossi, it's Rossi school today. Going back to Long Beach earlier this year, it was a lot like today. Led from the start, and it was so easy for him. It just looked like he was in the class of his own.
Well, that was 2 years in a row, pole position and the victory at Long Beach. Quite often, and more often than not, when he wins a pole position, he goes on to win the race. He was unable to do that yesterday. He was pipped by Colton Herta by just a couple of tenths of a second. You think about that, 0.2 of a second over a 4-mile track. That is so tight. But he made his intentions clear from lap 1, turn 1. He went around the outside of the teenager, and Alexander Rossi has not looked back. At a track where he has never finished in the top 10, he's got one of the most commanding leads we've seen in a long, long time in IndyCar. You're watching NBC's coverage of IndyCar, brought to you by Honda, an official vehicle of the NTT INDYCAR Series, and by United Rentals, official equipment rental services provider of IndyCar. Join the race to help veterans at turnsfortroops.com. Good crowd here at Road America in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. The town is so tiny, the population swells each and every year when IndyCar come to town, and it is great to be back in this part of the world. Lee Diffie, Townsend Bell, Paul Tracy with you here in the booth. Robin Miller and Kevin Lee, Dylan Welsh, Marty Snyder on pit road, enjoying what has been a beautiful day. Was rain predicted, but now we're running lap 37 of 55. Rain is looking less and less likely here today. We are tucked in between Milwaukee and Green Bay in the Cheesehead state of Wisconsin. You're looking at Graham Rahal in that retro, that throwback livery. Dedication at Honda's 25 years in racing in the car that his dad drove, that Miller Genuine Draft Honda. Similar color scheme, looks terrific. And the car from 1994 is here out in front of the Team RLL haulers, and there has been a crowd around that car in the paddock all weekend long.
Something special about those colors, but I think it's going to be a great battle here between Hinch, Rahal, and Herta, and maybe even Newgarden as things start to tighten up here, Paul, in the closing stages. Colton Herta has really clawed his way back from that difficult pit stop earlier, and I think this next round of pit stops and the battle to the end is going to be fierce.
Yeah, this is the battle for the podium here. Will Power has stretched out on Newgarden by 3 seconds, and these 4 cars here are all packed together. Herta trying to bounce back from that bad pit stop and work his way back to the podium. And right now, he's got the fastest lap of the race, and he's the fastest car on track.
Third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and a distant 7th there to Scott Dixon, but still full credit for that remarkable comeback from 23rd and last to be inside the top 10.
And Lee, you mentioned that comeback for Scott Dixon, 23rd on lap 1 after that spin on lap 1. He's made his way up to 7th position, and I've been watching timing and scoring. A lot of the teams still talking about that concrete debris which is on the racetrack. If we would get a full course caution, Scott Dixon has not fallen out of the top 5 lap times this entire run. In fact, for about 9 consecutive laps, he was the fastest car. I think if we do get a caution and they bunch the field up, he is going to be one of the factors, certainly, to make the podium today. And you talk about a 5-time champion, it's days like this, right, Lee, where you fall back in the field, you're 23rd, everything looks like it's not going to work. Friday they were terrible, and here Scott Dixon is sitting in 7th with a chance to go forward.
Well, I guarantee you guys that everybody down the pit lane is screaming for a yellow, except for Alexander Rossi's crew. They don't want it to go yellow. They don't want to bunch this field up. He's got a huge lead, but all these guys want to catch up.
And if we didn't go yellow inside the final pit window, which is around lap 41, in a couple of laps, Colton Herta would have sticker reds for that restart, and he would be fun to watch. Regardless, if it stays green, I think the green flag stop battle is going to be great here.
This will be an interesting battle here between these two. Colton Herta is very aggressive, but Graham Rahal, he is no pushover.
Approaching lap 40 of 55. Every single lap has been led by this man, the Napa Honda driver, Alexander Rossi. Back at Road America, and 15 laps to go. Hey, this is pretty simple math, isn't it? The Speedway lap leaders, there's only one.
Keeping it easy, and think about this, 40 laps in, he has a 20-second lead. That's an average of half a second a lap quicker than the field. That is a soul-destroying, spirit-crushing performance over the rest of the field.
Joseph Newgarden came on the radio to his team and said, how far is Rossi up the road? They said 19 seconds, and his response was, wow.
Now this is smart. Rossi, coming to pit lane early. Do not put yourself in the danger zone. The idea is don't risk a yellow coming out after you pit. So they're going to bring Rossi to pit lane at the earliest convenience because of that massive lead.
See that section through the kink there? You may have noticed, if you've got a keen eye, there's some 400 feet of safer barrier. I want to say congratulations and thumbs up to Road America. That's a huge capital expense. They're doing it, of course, in the name of safety at one of the most treacherous parts on the track. There it is right there.
That's an innovation that the Indianapolis Motor Speedway invented, but Rossi's going to come here. Here's the thing. If he comes out on cold tires right into the traffic of the guys that are still going another lap, they could mess with him and maybe get into it with him.
And here's the advantage of having a pseudo teammate. The Harding-Steinbrenner car of Colton Herta, which uses Andretti technologies, pitted right in front. Herta has been pitting a lap before Rossi in both the previous stops, but they're going to wait. They can make it long enough on fuel. So Rossi comes in, and the leader has no impact with anybody coming in as they're finishing their stop. There are options here, but they're going to go for the black sidewall, primary Firestone, Speedway fuel, half a turn of front wing. Final stop of the day. Alexander Rossi is back out looking to win.
Smooth and perfect. That's just what you need if you're in Rossi's situation, as Will Power comes to his box.
Newgarden comes in, Hinchcliffe comes in, so they all took the same lap.
But as you can imagine, Colton Herta is staying out. Here's Newgarden.
Championship leader Joseph Newgarden here, along with his teammate Will Power, all pitting with Alexander Rossi. And yeah, that reaction PT was talking about for Rossi's lead. Newgarden was more like, wow, that's impressive. Scott Dixon at the front end of pit road. They talked about maybe going the opposite of everybody else in terms of tires. They stick with the primary tires. But Simon Pagenaud, the Indy 500 winner back there, he is going the opposite with pretty much everybody else with sticker red tires. Same for Ryan Hunter-Reay and also Sebastian Bourdais. These guys going with reds. We'll see if that pays off.
Colton Herta and Graham Rahal stay out along with Rosenquist. So when Rahal and Herta pit, it'll be fun to see where they blend back out with Newgarden and Hinchcliffe, because that was the battle on track. Colton Herta a little wide there through the carousel.
They're hustling. They're using push to pass. They've really got to nail this in lap if they're going to jump ahead of the cars in front of them.
14 laps to go here at Road America in the Rev Group Grand Prix at Road America.
Whoa, big slide.
Big brake dust coming off the brakes of both of those cars. These brakes are now getting worn out. This is a long, fast track with heavy brake zones. We'll see if they head for pit road, and here they come.
Yep. Rahal and Herta.
So Colton Herta making his final stop. The pole sitter lost the lead in corner number 1 and then lost positions with a longer pit stop. Problem getting the fuel hose attached. He has a different circumstance than most of the other leaders. Set of Firestone sticker reds to go, so this outlap is going to be an advantage for him. You see Graham Rahal peeling in right in front. Herta making his final stop of the day. We'll see if it's a smooth one for Harding-Steinbrenner Racing. Ed Jones peeling through. He's going to have a fairly clean exit. Solid stop. Herta is back out. Rahal still right in front of him.
Now we have to watch Power and Newgarden and Hinchcliffe. They're on the front straightaway. Colton Herta's going to be a rocket ship on these sticker reds. He has to make it count now.
Here's Hinchcliffe is going to be the factor. They peel out right in front of James Hinchcliffe. James has got to use these hot tires. Colton is going to defend the position, but he can't hold him off.
He's got to cross him over now. Colton's got to find a way to take advantage of the softer rubber early, because he'll be disadvantaged at the end of the stint. Good exit for Colton.
Here. Double draft going on. This is going to be wild stuff down in turn 5.
You know he's not afraid to make a move. Watch that green and white guest car of the Harding-Steinbrenner team. Outside here on Hinchcliffe. It's going to be the long way around. He thinks about it.
All clear, all clear.
Tries the crossover now. If they were to be side by side, don't forget the debris on the track in the next corner. They don't. They're single file.
The advantage right now is to Colton in terms of tire grip. He's got the reds. Hinchcliffe's on the backs, on the blacks. He's going to have an advantage for at least 6 to 7 laps.
Looking at push to pass remaining, Hinchcliffe only has 13 seconds. Colton Herta has 34.
200 seconds of push to pass with a maximum application time of 20 seconds per go.
Herta has 34 seconds. He's trying to keep behind for 3 or 4 laps. He'll fall off like a rock.
There you go. Teams are talking about the same thing we are. That is the amount of push to pass left per driver, and then those red softer compound Firestones will fall off towards the end of this stint, this race.
You gotta love it when the engineer says, yeah, try to keep him behind for 3 or 4 laps and then he'll fall off. It's easier said than done. 3 or 4 laps is 10 minutes of hand-to-hand combat around here.
I like the attitude. He said he'll fall off like a rock. This guy's been coming forward the whole time, so I don't think he's gonna fall off at all.
Here comes Colton. Now he has tire temperature. Now those reds are absolutely prime. And look who's looming into this battle now.
Dixon.
The orange and blue of Dixon.
driver you can never count out.
Hinchcliffe dropped a wheel on the exit of turn 3. Colt was not close enough to take advantage of that. Oh, little lock up there too.
We're going non-stop. You won't miss a thing. See you back in a moment.
Laps to go, plus 22 power, plus 25 new garden. You're 10 seconds back from Zach on the road.
You're watching the Rev Group Grand Prix presented by AMR here at Road America. Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. Let's get you up to speed. When things got going a little earlier in the day, it was 19-year-old Colton Herter, right-hand side of his screen on the pole position, but he soon got wrapped up. Turn 1, lap 1. Alexander Rossi said, hey, I'm going to control things in this race, and it has been that way ever since. It was pretty close down there through turn 3, but not a problem. And on the opening lap, a little further down at turn 5.
Dixon gets a little wide onto the curb. Hunter Ray follows, checks up, but gets into the back of Scott Dixon. No penalty. Both cars able to continue, and Dixon would go all the way to the back.
Lap 3. Hinchcliffe, Sato, bang wheels. Sato's off the track. No penalty.
There's been plenty go on, so we scoot ahead to lap 6. And this was Marcus Ericsson. He was able to keep it out of the wall, and he was able to continue.
Then lap 13, Colton Herta inside, Willpower outside. Light touch, both continue, and then for Colton Herta, things really went south. A mad pit stop, the fuel wouldn't flow.
Same thing that happened to Rossi at the Indy 500. He had to turn that fuel nozzle on to get it to flow. They said it was an error by the team.
Lap 22, Colton Herta, Simon Pagenaud. This was a little more forceful.
Remember, Colton Herta was inside earlier with the contact. Pagenaud able to get continuing. Colton Herta with stuff all over his tires. That lets Scott Dixon go by. And then during the break, lap 44, Carlin teammates.
Pato O'Ward on the outside. We ride with Max Chilton. Bye-bye, Pato.
Chilton's missed the Texas race, but he's back and tells his teammate, listen, I'm still here, boys.
Well, the theme at the beginning of the day was Alexander Rossi was tired, so tired of finishing second. You think he's ready to win now? 24 seconds out in front. Racing to the end of the Rev Group Grand Prix at Road America. 8 laps to go, not even that really, 7.5. Alexander Rossi has dominated, leading 47 laps thus far. Here he is, out in front. However, for the other podium placings, it is a little tighter. Will Power sits second. Joseph Newgarden is really under intensifying pressure from Graham Rahal for that final step on the podium. While it's nice and calm up here, it is hectic further back.
Think about this, Alexander Rossi leading by 26 seconds. There's 26 seconds between P2 and P12 right now. Just Rossi's in a different class altogether today, but this battle for the podium is going to be great down the stretch, I think. 7 laps to go for Newgarden, Rahal, Herta, Hinchcliffe, and now Scott Dixon in the frame.
Will Power has a small gap to Newgarden, and Newgarden is really just kind of hanging on for dear life. He's got all these cars right here stacked up behind him. He's carrying a little bit more downforce than the Honda cars, so the Honda cars are fast down the straightaway. Oh, he runs a little wide there.
Graham might have a chance.
Tires are going away on Newgarden, and he's got Rahal breathing down his neck.
Graham thought he might have had a shot there at the top of the hill, turn 6. Quite often a good spot on the inside to make a move there. He's got Colton Herta now filling his mirrors. How well will Colton Herta's softer Firestone tires hang in there over these closing 7 laps is the question.
Hanging in there fine to quite fine.
I don't know. Looking a little squirrely there in the carousel. 7 laps to go in the stint. In the opening stint, this is around the time that the Reds started to fall off a little bit. So what does that mean for James Hinchcliffe, who follows Colton Herta, or Scott Dixon, or Felix Rosenquist, that inches ever closer into this conversation? There's Scott Dixon in the blue and orange car, Rosenquist in the blue number 10.
You guys can associate with this. Rosenquist, well, he's had, how many has he had? 3 or 4 top 10s this year. This rookie season that was built up to be so much for him hasn't quite panned out the way it should have, with a couple of big accidents. And he said, I needed to get away. Last weekend, he and his girlfriend traveled to St. Lucia in the Caribbean and said, I needed to switch off. I needed to reset. Do you understand that?
I think the rookie year would be fine for Rosenquist if it wasn't for the fact that Alexander Rossi is a free agent. That's what puts the pressure on. Because Rosenquist has showed well. He's had some decent performances. He's also made some mistakes. That's expected of a rookie. But the fact that Rossi's on the market would make a guy like Rosenquist look over his shoulder every day.
And let's not forget, he's far, far back in the points to his teammate, Scott Dixon, and he'll be under direct orders as of right now at this point in the race not to pass his teammate, because Dixon needs every point that he can possibly get.
Well, speaking of points, as they run right now, Alexander Rossi only 7 points behind Newgarden in the championship. Pagenaud would be third, 61 points further back from Rossi. And Scott Dixon, 98 points back in fourth as they run right now. And Dixon has never won a championship from that far back.
Dixon said the threshold for him is 100 points, not to fall into that danger zone of being back that far.
Yeah, he does not like to be 100 points behind, and it's been a very uncharacteristic second half of the season here for Scott Dixon. Poor finishes in all of the races here recently, of course, except for Detroit, where he did get the 1 win. But other than that, they have struggled to get top 5s. But Dixon very quick here and sort of senses the blood in the water. If you're going to pick a driver who needs to save fuel and make time, Scott Dixon is your man. He is catching James Hinchcliffe. The question is, can he get around him for a top 6?
Anything can happen here in the last few laps. If some of these tires completely wear out, these guys start slipping and sliding, locking tires up and dropping wheels off, things can change really quick from 2nd down to 7th.
Shows the enormity of this Road America precinct set in amongst 630 acres. And credit to everybody here on the staff. This place looks like your front lawn. There is so much to mow, so much to keep, you know, to maintain, and it looks immaculate.
It is, and it's just it's an adult summer camp here. There's beers, there's brats, and there's speed, and it's a great combination.
Final 5 laps. Who's going to win out of this multi-driver arm wrestle here? Where's Colton Herta, the pole sitter, going to end up? Here's Dixon on Hinchcliffe. That's as close as he's been.
Just trying to think about their respective situations here. If you think about Newgarden, he's got a championship he's leading. Ray Hall's kind of up there in the points. Dixon needs to make something big happen. Colton Herta needs a result. Hinchcliffe needs a good result. I'm trying to figure out who's the driver with nothing to lose that might go for it.
Did you see that step out in the kink?
Yeah.
That's a 170-mile-an-hour turn, and that thing steps sideways on him. These tires on this group of guys here, they're gone now.
Well, as they draw closer too, you just get that much less downforce in turbulent air in the fast corners, and it becomes a real handful. I think Colton Herta might struggle on these last few laps on the Reds. He's starting to really slide around.
Firestone Telemetry giving you the numbers with 4 laps to go.
4 more laps. Man, did you guys make any adjustments?
Scott Dixon asking if they made any adjustments, and he gets the reply, tire
dropped
pressure.
the wheel off there. Somebody went off at turn 1 as well, so these guys are really starting to hang on for dear life here. Rossi's so far out in front, he could just take it easy now, but these guys are all fighting.
How about the man who calls the strategy for the race leader who has dominated everybody, Kevin Lee?
Yeah, Lee, normally I'd ask Rob some sort of strategy question going on. It's made your day a little bit easier today, hasn't it?
I think the driver took care of the strategy at the start, right? But yeah, I mean, obviously you like it to always work this way, so happy that today, 3 laps to go, but so far is playing out the way we planned.
What was the key that you thought going into this race? Managing used tires? What was the situation that you were most focused on?
I think getting clean air at the start, and I think, you know, phenomenal start from Alex to get around Colton and through the first part of the first lap. And I think that was the race right there, quite honestly.
He seems to, when he wins, dominate the race.
Yeah, it does seem that way, I guess. You know, I guess we'll take the wins however they come, and I think, you know, a lot of prep goes into it, and as you say, when he's out front, he thrives on that and just keeps going forward from there.
Thank you, Rob. By the way, the last time anybody dominated a race more, he's leading by nearly 29 seconds. It's been a decade. Scott Dixon won by just under 30 seconds in 2009 at Mid-Ohio.
Well, no better way to keep a driver in your stable with a free agency like Rossi's looking at than to provide a car and a team that's capable of this performance. I mean, if you're Alexander Rossi, you got to think to yourself, I dominated Long Beach. I've dominated here. I was quick at the Indy 500 again. There's no guarantee he's going to find that same situation somewhere else.
Yep. Colton Herta's tires are gone. He just got a little sideways coming onto the front straightaway. Brian Barnhart said, hang on, a couple more laps to go, 3 to go, but now he's backed up, and now he's under threat from Hinchcliffe.
Hinchcliffe has 6 seconds of push to pass, Colton Herta 13, so they are on fumes in terms of push to pass remaining.
Great overtaking spot right here at the bottom of the hill, turn 5, and they're lining up
Colton
for
got
a shot
wide,
at the teenager.
Colton's getting wide. He's sliding through apexes, doing everything he can to hang on. Missed it again there.
Yeah, missed the apex by about 2 feet there, so he's lost the grip in the tires. You see the car wiggle.
Down to 6.
We'll watch it here through the carousel. He comes down to this corner, and we see this overhead. Watch the rear start to wiggle here through this fast sweeper.
This is for a top 5. There's Brian Barnhart, former race director on the right with the white shirt, Mike Harding in the middle, and George Steinbrenner the 4th on the far side.
Hinchcliffe's right there. He got a good run off the
carousel.
Yeah. Look at that, he's right there.
12 seconds.
There he comes.
18.
Yeah, but Hinchcliffe's almost out of push to pass. He did not use it on that run, so maybe he'll wait for the front straightaway or just try to force a mistake and keep push to pass to defend Scott Dixon, who has 18 seconds.
He's got no more rear grip. He's hanging on for dear life. Hinchcliffe is all over the back bumper.
This has been kind of a James Hinchcliffe of old drive today from the Canadian. Really encouraging stuff.
And Scott Dixon's starting to struggle a bit. That's why Dixon was asking about any changes.
2 to go. Let's go get him, bud.
8 miles to go. Not 2 laps sounds like nothing. There's 8 miles of racing still to go.
And for those of you watching north of the border, can't wait.
Oh! Big loose. I told you his tires were gone. He nearly lost it there, and Hinchcliffe whistles right by. And here comes Scott Dixon.
Those tires are going to be dirty now. Dixon has the best chance to make a run with more push to pass. Herta defending on the button. Dixon's on the button as well.
Herta's coming back. He's coming back on him.
These two were together at Texas 2 weeks ago. Herta gets the place back. Dixon might get both of them. Side by side with Hinchcliffe.
Dixon outside, Dixon out.
They tag each other. Dixon wants a shot at Herta on the inside to turn 6.
Herta's out of push to pass. Hinchcliffe is out of push to pass. Dixon with 13 seconds and coming strong.
His tires are toast. He's just got to line it up one more time.
From last on lap 1 to a possible 5th place. That's what Scott Dixon does.
And for Hinchcliffe, he goes from 4th or 5th to 8th in one corner.
Look at how loose he is. Look at even Dixon's super loose. He's got pickup on the right front as well, but he gets a nice little run.
Watch him hang on here.
White flag is already shown.
That's so loose he can barely turn the steering wheel. But let's see down at Canada corner, does Colton's car, does the rear slide away on him?
Rossi's so far ahead, the white flag has already been shown to the race leader.
Dixon just has to stay close. He has a massive advantage on this last lap because of the 2 long straightaways and 13 seconds of push to pass. What does his teammate Rosenquist do? Here comes Dixon.
Wide. He's way wide, Herta. He
Yes,
missed
no
the
push to
apex.
pass.
Here we go.
This should be easy for Dixon. He should blow right by.
Outside
Hang
to
on,
turn
dude.
1.
You're doing great.
There we go.
Oh, he's going to come back on him. He got so loose. Dixon hangs on.
Oh, Herta's got nothing.
Look at sideways again. Rosenquist is going to dive.
What happened there is Herta went up the driver's right, and there's so much debris and used rubber that his tires have tons of pickup now.
Hinchcliffe might get a couple positions back here if these guys crash into each other.
Rosenquist side by side now with Herta. He was growing frustrated and got held up there.
Herta's good on the brakes, but he's locked up. He's going to run way wide.
So does Rosenquist. Look at Herta's tires are still filthy from that turn 1 incident.
While we enjoy this, get ready. The race leader's coming to the checkered flag. He's so far out in front. Alexander Rossi, here he is, final 2 turns, climbs the hill one last time. This has been something special. We told you right in the pre-race show, this young American star was sick of finishing second. There's no way he's second today. He wins at Road America. Alexander Rossi victorious in Wisconsin.
Excellent, thanks.
9th different winner in 9 years. Meanwhile, this fight goes on. Herta's off track.
Herta on the fastest corner of the track goes off. Hinchcliffe gets back by. His tires are toast.
Herta's tires are going to be even worse after going off there.
He might get passed by this next car.
Well,
His
that's
tires
it. Jones
are
is
gone.
a lap down. But Colton Herta trying everything, and it just wasn't enough with that strategy to finish on sticker reds. It just didn't work out. Newgarden with a really nice podium along with Will Power, his teammate Graham Rahal 4th. And Dixon, after going to the back on that spin, is going to come home 5th with no yellows.
That was Michael Andretti being congratulated there for his driver with a phenomenal victory. Comprehensive to say the least, 28.5 seconds. That was a crushing victory. And this was a spectacular comeback. A little bit of everything. And the teenage rookie in the mix with worn out tires trying to defend. But let's go to the Andretti Autosport camp.
Michael Andretti congratulating the Honda reps and also the engineers. You see Peter Rossi maybe there right below, Alexander's dad. You dominated a lot of races in your day. What's the deal with Alexander always winning by a pretty big margin?
I don't know. He just drove phenomenal actually all weekend, and you know, the car was good, and you know, pit stops were good. They just had one of those days everything went right. You know, I'm just so proud of him. It's nice to break that second place thing, you know, to come back and get a win. So got the momentum going, so hopefully we can keep it.
He's been right there in the championship all year, already had a win, but did you sense some frustration finishing second in 3 of the last 4 races for Alexander?
Yeah, he definitely was feeling it. He was, but that was good. It gave him really good motivation to go and, you know, break the ice there and get the win, and he did that. You know, he just did a great job, and it's going to be a real fight all the way to the end for a championship. You know, and Joseph still was on the podium there, so just keeping the heat on.
7 points is the margin now. Alexander now has that experience of fighting for a championship last year. What does that do for him as we head towards the second half of the season and towards the stretch this year?
Well, I think it's good for, you know, to have that experience for sure, and you know, we know that if things are right, he's mentally ready to do it, and the team's ready to do it. The whole Napa team is, you know, ready and ready to win this championship. We want it bad.
Congratulations. I'll let you start the long walk to victory lane.
All right, thank you.
Second win of the year for Alexander Rossi, to go to pair with the one he got on the streets of Long Beach, California. Talking about winning at iconic venues.
Got some guys ran out of fuel here at the end, but man, that was just total domination by Rossi, Townsend, and that could be trouble for the rest of these guys.
Well, if you think about the rest of the schedule, tracks like Portland or Laguna Seca, Mid-Ohio, very similar type circuits to Road America, and if Rossi continues that momentum, and I don't know why you would bet against him, he absolutely could take this championship.
Just think back to his facial expression and his words and his emotion at the Indy 500 in that dogfight with Simon Pagenaud. He was holding back the tears to say that one hurts, and I'll remember that loss for a long time. Then yesterday he had almost as big a frustration on his face when he missed out on the pole position at the hands of Colton Herta. Well, all of that can be washed away with one of the most crushing victories we've seen in a long, long time.
And frankly, he put all that to bed in one corner on the first lap with that move on Colton Herta. And as Rob Edwards said, that clean air took any kind of strategy indecision out of it. It was all about just driving away, and this guy did it in spectacular fashion.
The fist pump with authority when he gets out of the car and showered with all sorts of liquid from the race team. I'm sure that's a bath he does not mind. He led all but one lap today. What an impressive win for Alexander Rossi. Dominates Long Beach earlier this year, dominates Road America, and hugs for everybody here on the Andretti Autosport Napa team. Wow. We've seen you dominate before, but we've never seen you dominate like that, Alexander. Is that the best race car you've ever driven in your life?
Yeah, it's up there, I think. Yeah, I mean, these guys, what we did overnight, you know, seeing what we were missing in qualifying yesterday, qualifying hurt, but to be able to go do that today was sensational, and a huge thanks to the Napa Andretti Honda team. Man, I mean, yeah, I think after thinking about it, it's probably the best race car I've ever driven.
You mentioned qualifying hurt. That was a second. A lot of seconds lately. Did all of that motivate you a little bit more than everyone knew?
Yeah, I mean, it's hurt. I mean, obviously you don't want to complain too much about getting second places, right, because they're good results, but we knew we had the pace, and I think ever since Texas, when Guest Capstone came on board and we had a new partnership and we came up short again, the motivation for this week was higher than ever, so we were able to execute, and huge thanks to these guys behind me. I can't do it without them.
It is a much different championship picture now, only 7 points behind in the championship. In some ways, was this a statement win for the 2017?
It was just a win that we needed to do, right? You know, we've been thereabouts, but the Penske cars were getting the upper hand on us. So to be able to go out and win a race the way we did, I think stated our intentions, and we'll regroup the next couple of weeks and hit them hard again in Toronto.
I love the shots of you riding around, waving to the fans. Were you soaking this one in a little bit more than normal?
Yeah, I mean, it's so awesome to be able to come here to Road America, and ever since we came in 2016, the fan turnout's been amazing, and just the vibe from Friday and the autograph session all the way through the weekend is fantastic, and I'm really glad the weather held off for them and all the campers out there, and it's great to see, and just another indication of how the NTT INDYCAR Series is on an upward swing.
Well, Lee mentioned it, winning at 2 iconic racetracks in 2019. First at Long Beach, now at Road America. Alexander Rossi with a dominant win today.
to hear from some more drivers when we come back. Next Sunday, NASCAR returns to the networks of NBC. The sport's top drivers start the second half, and the race to the championship at Chicagoland. That's next Sunday, NBCSN, 3 o'clock Eastern. All right, time to hear from the guys who did the chasing. Unfortunately, came up a little bit short against Alexander Rossi.
Will Power, Joseph Newgarden from Team Penske. Will, we'll start with you, I guess, first in class today. That was odd.
Yeah, that was all we had. We did best strategy we could do and got the most out of the tyre strategy. And honestly, that's as fast as I could go. I never even saw Alex. Like, he was just gone. Yeah, so probably a bit of work to do on the road courses, but happy with second. It's a good result for me. I've had a bit of a rough year, so happy with that.
Joseph, when you hear that the leader is checked out like that, are you asking him to repeat the gap?
No, I mean, I knew we were fighting for second or third right from the start, it looked like. Those guys did a great job. They were quicker all weekend, it looked like. We're trying to do what we could to close that gap and just stay as close as possible. But, yeah, we're just too far away. So congrats to Alex and Andretti. They were very strong today. We just got to, like Will said, we just got to keep doing work.
You guys raced together quite a bit there. This is pretty good stuff.
Yeah, it was a good battle there on my outlap there on cold tires. And I got a boost penalty just coming out of the carousel. And I'm like, oh, no, he's going to have a run. I don't really want to race him very hard because he's leading the bloody championship. So I tried to be as nice as I could.
Yeah, no, obviously we were running each other fair there. I didn't have much four-wheel. I think him and me were just kind of in lockstep most of the race. He'd pull away a little bit, then I'd close up. We just couldn't do much. I think we were both pushing as hard as possible, but everyone did a good job. It was nice having Rev Group on this weekend and everything that they did for the first responders, being able to come out for free. It's just a small gift. I want to say hi to the Wards. We missed Gavin this weekend. Baby Taylor just arrived, so hi to Gavin and Helen. We tried to hold down the fort here, but they'll be back.
And that's Joseph's engineer, by the way. You need to explain to everyone what a boost penalty is. It's not a penalty from race control.
No. It's you get on the throttle, and it's how they govern, not so the engine manufacturers can't run extra boost. So when it does slip over from a gust of wind or whatever it may be, it just dies.
Good. You would explain that better than I would have. Second and third for Will Power, and Joseph Newgarden's the best finish of the season for Will, and Joseph remains the championship leader. Marty?
Well, Alexander Rossi was certainly impressive today, but maybe a close second in the impressive category, Scott Dixon, who was 23rd after lap 1 and somehow came back to finish 5th. So the spin on lap 1, was that making you a little more motivated to get back up to the front?
Yeah, that was frustrating, man. We tried to stay high and out of the action and just got hit from behind, spun us around. And the problem there is you're facing the wrong way, so to get going the right way is very difficult, and I think we probably left 10 seconds behind the field, so credit to the team. The car was actually pretty good. The whole race you're just thinking what could have been, had we held that position early on, on the strategy we were onto with the black tires. I think we really could have had a strong finish, definitely an easy podium fight there, because we caught Joseph and those guys really quickly. Had we not had a 25-second deficit at the start, it could have been a lot different. So big thanks to everybody in the PNC Bank number 9, and it's been a tough run in these last 3 races. So we'll keep our head down, man, and make the most of it. But congrats. I think Rossi won, so congrats to him. Good job by Honda, so that was good.
Yeah, so you mentioned the tough run in the last few races. How needed was this for this team? And then B, on that, when you take a championship perspective, are these the important weekends where you're kind of lost on a Friday and a Saturday, but you turn it into a top 5?
Yeah, I think, we definitely had more than what we showed this weekend. But if you look at, Detroit race 1, easy podium there and no points. Texas, with Colton, no points there. And then, having the issues this weekend. So it's you can't do anything about it, man. We just gotta keep our head down. I know we're 94 points back. That 100 mark is looming, which is not good. But you can't win them all, man. But we'll keep trying.
But the good thing is his 100-point mark that he loves to stay above. He stayed above it today. So Scott Dixon just 94 out in the championship. Robin.
All right, Marty. Graham Rahal, nice run, son. 4th place. You don't put a wheel wrong all day. You drive as hard as you can. You finish 4th. It's kind of frustrating sometimes.
Yeah, I mean it's just super competitive right now. So. It's I mean, Joseph and I think we push as hard as we can, for the whole time. I mean, I don't think I've driven 55 harder laps before, but you know, in this series, it's just that way. I mean, you got to push all the time. You may not, you know, look like we are from the outside, but wasn't any breaks there for sure. But I'm very pleased for the Gale team, you know, to come out of here fourth. I thought we'd be able to get a podium there. I think we were a little bit quicker than Joseph, but just getting the job done was a little hard. But you know, pleased with where we finished. Onward we go to Toronto. Good points. I mean, you know, we close up a little bit on Taku and Ryan and those guys, but a little more work to do.
All right, Graham Rahal, a little more work to do. Fourth place. Dylan?
And Robin Felix Rosenquist brings his car home from the 18th spot to 6th, so pretty good day. Are you happy with that?
Yeah, really happy from 18th, and you know, having no safety cars, I think that was a really honest result. Yeah, awesome job by the guys. I mean, we had quite a tough weekend, and I'd say the race was our strongest session so far this weekend, and that's where you want to be quick. So yeah, there was a lot of tire management going on, especially on the reds. We managed to get out in the clear there on the reds, and I think that really helps us. That was crucial for the race to be able to treat those tires well, and then on the blacks you sort of just go for it. A little bit of management, but it was pretty good. So yeah, really happy with that.
Yeah, and a busy first segment there for you. And I want you to look at the video here. When you were battling there at the end with Herta, and I think Hinchcliffe was in there and Scott Dixon was in there, you said you got to get on the clutch because you were going to stall the car, and I think we've got video. So take us through that when you're racing that hard with that guys, and you got to do something like pull the clutch.
Yeah, that was that was something odd I've never done before. But yeah, it was Dixon, Herta, and Hinchcliffe, and they kind of got together in 5. And then coming out of the corner, Hinch went on the inside when I did an undercut, and I was almost got stopped, and then I pulled the clutch just to win the drag race with him, and it kind of worked. So that was a cool point of the race, and yeah, I think that was the whole race for me. Like looking here, I just managed to get through all the trouble, and yeah, for once we didn't get involved in anything and just managed to have a smooth run, and yeah, just observe and then take opportunities rather than get involved in the angry pack there. So yeah, it was good fun.
Yeah, good finish for them today. It's been an up and down last couple of weeks, and good solid top 10 today for Felix Rosenquist.
And Dylan, what it means is that he's done a very swift leapfrog as far as the championship points as well by just being consistent. And he's been able to get himself ahead of fellow rookie Santino Ferrucci in that Rookie of the Year points race with 7 events left this season. Wow, 2019 season has almost swept us by. And speaking of sweeping, that's what Alexander Rossi did today. He blew this field away. We're not done yet. Plenty more to come from Road America. Stick around. Already looking ahead to the next event on the NTT INDYCAR Series schedule, and it's Honda Indy Toronto. Yeah, we head north of the border to James Hinchcliffe's hometown. That's Sunday, July 14. Coverage begins at 3 o'clock Eastern on NBCSN. And boy, how lucky we have been to beat the weather. It is raining quite hard here at Road America. How lucky was that? Just to beat the downpour, but unfortunately our Marty Snyder's still out in it. Marty?
Yeah, it's not drizzling, it's raining sideways, but Simon Pagenaud said he loves the rain, so we're going to stand out here in the rain. It winds up being a 9th place finish for you, and man, were you coming early, then the contact with Herta, how much did that kind of change your day?
Yeah, we dropped a few positions from there, and it was the perfect worst storm you could have, because it's the middle of the race. That's really when you really in the background make your race. So that was definitely bad timing. We had no damage on the car, so it was fine, but then we put the red tires on at the end, and that was not the best. We had a lot of degradation, so I wish it rained sooner. We should probably extend the race.
Yeah, because the GP, you won the race in the rain, so where was this 20 minutes ago for you, right?
Yeah, it would have been great, but you know, it is what it is. Congrats to Rossi and my teammates. It was a great race.
Turn our page to the second half of the season, 61 points out of the championship. How do you feel about where you are 61 points out?
Yeah, I think, you know, I think we can do much better. I think, you know, we have a test this week in Mid-Ohio. That'd be a good way to prepare the next part of the season. We're going to Iowa next. I love that oval, and Toronto is a good one for us. So the next 3 should be a lot of fun. Tracks where we're good, and we'll keep working. You know, that's like we said at the beginning of the year, at the beginning of the show, is up and downs, and the goal is just to be as consistent as possible.
All right, go get out of the rain.
I love the rain.
It's pouring down here, Lee, but Simon Pagenaud's happy.
Yeah, still stays in third place in the championship. Loses a few more points in comparison to Joseph Newgarden, his teammate, and Alexander Rossi, but still stays in a very solid third. So, speaking of the points, this reflects what I was just saying there, but the big thing, fellas, from 25 points down, Alexander Rossi squeezes those windows together to down to 7.
Gets tighter at the front in the top 5. Once again, you see Penske, Andretti, and Ganassi represented, but shout out to Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan Racing, Sato 6th, Graham Rahal 8th. They start to close a little bit.
James Hinchcliffe, he's heading to his home race next. He moves up 2 positions in the championship to 9th, Robin.
Well, we were just discussing that he probably never drove harder to finish 7th, and all the things that happened, all the cars you passed, you got passed. Just judge your day.
Oh man, a roller coaster. You know, kind of our season. We had the pace. We were just going lap for lap with the Penske guys there, just managing the gap, looking after tires, saving a bit of fuel, and you know, to even be in that spot was great. We had a good start. The guys were awesome in the pit lane today on the number 5 Aero crew. But on that last stop, you know, we decided to stop a lap early, and we got overcut by Graham and Colton, and that was tough, you know, because Colton had the red tires, so he got around us, and then when they went off, you know, he made a mistake, ended up costing us 3 positions. So, man, it's such a kick. I hate saying it. I won't say it because I get in trouble for saying it, but it's yeah, it's unfortunate the way it went down because the car's better than this. We've been driving better than this. We've been faster than this. We should have had a top 5 today. It just didn't work out.
Maybe things will turn around in your homeland here in a couple of weeks.
That'd be nice, man. It's about time this season turned around for us a little bit.
All right, Hinch gets 7th. Probably should have been 4th, Kevin.
Well, Colton Herta again made us know that he was here. He was very much the star of the show beyond Alexander Rossi. Let's go in chronological order. Battling your veteran teammate at the start of the race. Tell us about that race into turn number 1 where neither one of you were willing to give it up.
Yeah, it was really just up to our tire strategy. I think we butchered it right from the start. We started on used tires, and I've got no clue why. There's me and Will making a little contact, but no harm, no foul. Then, yeah, this is what kind of really killed us. I think the fuel issues that we had. I'm not sure what happened there, and yeah, just had to battle our way back, and then put reds on at the end, and we really shouldn't have. There's Graham making a few moves. So yeah, it was just a sloppy race from the team and stuff. So we need better strategy, I think, on that. I think we should have done the reds earlier, maybe started on the new reds and got them out of the way. I don't think we realized how bad they were actually going to be. And then yeah, we were able to hang on there for a little bit at the end, but we were just a sitting duck for those last like 5 laps.
All right, Colton Herta with another very impressive showing today. As we see again, this is the start of the race with him trying to hold off Alexander Rossi and gets through. And he does get a finish today, and this equals his 2nd best result of the season. Colton Herta now moving on to Toronto in just a few weeks. Stiff.
Yeah, he had so many races outside the top 10 and outside the top 20 to finish 8th. Not so bad. Rossi, the victor on the day, though. What a brilliant display it was today from Alexander Rossi, the 27-year-old American, with his 7th career victory in the NTT INDYCAR Series and his 2nd in 2019. There's a lovely salute to the crew for the 2017, the Napa Auto Parts Honda. You want to talk about convincing, clean, clear, decisive. That's exactly appropriate for what Alexander Rossi did today in his Andretti Autosport Honda. Paul, you had plenty of big victories in your career. How impressed were you with that?
Wow, it was super impressive, and he definitely has put everybody at Penske Racing on notice that he is going to be a factor for the championship. But let's not forget, there's a long way to go still. In the final race, Townsend is double points, so this thing is wide open.
It's wide open, but when I look at those races remaining, so many of those could go to Alexander Rossi. And here's that schedule. Toronto, think about how Rossi dominated at Long Beach. On the ovals now, Rossi is strong as anybody, especially at a place like Pocono. We go to Gateway, Portland, and then Laguna Seca, where some drivers don't have experience. I'm not sure if Rossi's actually raced there before, perhaps in Formula BMW before he went to Europe. some of the veterans like Dixon and Tony Kanaan, they've done lots of laps around Monterey at Laguna Seca. So a lot left to play for, no doubt.
A really nice blend of street courses, permanent road courses, short ovals, and super speedways still to come in the remaining 7 races in the NTT INDYCAR Series for 2019. And this amazing trend of a different winner for the past 9 races, the last 9 times here at Elkhart Lakes, Road America. You know, coming up soon, coming up at Watkins Glen in upstate New York is the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship. You'll be competing there, mate. Want to wish you all the best for that. That's next weekend, isn't it?
I will, and I'll be having fun watching Paul race a Lamborghini in the support race as well. So a lot of action, Paul, going on next weekend.
Tune
in New York
to NBC Sports to watch all of that as well.
There you have a snapshot of the results, and we've heard from the majority of those in the top 10. Ryan Hunter-Ray, I would imagine, it was coming away from this a little frustrated. He was hoping for a better result. Marcus Ericsson, he had some anxious moments here. Pato Award was off track as well. And Santino Ferrucci, it was not to be his day, and he loses the lead in the Rookies Championship for 2019. But look, all of the post-race celebrations. And so the frustration that Rossi had endured, albeit while getting great results, meaning finishing in runner-up positions, he can forget about that now because it was quite the display today. Coming up next, final round coverage of Women's PGA Championship presented by KPMG. And a reminder that this series, the NTT INDYCAR Series, continues on NBCSN. Join us in 3 weeks for the Honda Indy Toronto. That's Sunday, July 14 at 3 o'clock Eastern. We say congratulations, Alexander Rossi. We'll see you in Toronto.